9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
PokerStars announces the World Championship of Online
$2.1 million.
More than 10,000 players.
33 events this year.
And for the first time, $1 million score. WCOOP 2009, what a
Over
year.
2.2 million for first. That's
The
insane.
taxi driver who satellited in takes home $1 million. Crown-up guy is the world
This kid is
champion.
1 to 1.
Sean D consistently crushing WCOOP.
What a lineup.
Adrenaline 7105 titles in 1-0. And it's PT Fisherman who reels in the main event trophy. In its 20th year, WCOOP is bigger than ever and remains the title that every online player wants to win. Welcome back to the PokerStars Arena, where the World Championship of Online Poker 2021 continues. The last of the Sunday majors conclude tonight, including the 2K8 Max, where cards up all the way as the final 9 play down to a champion. Hello everyone, I'm James Hartigan alongside Joe Stapleton.
Hello, my babies.
And Joe, I'm not sure if we can top last night, witnessing KZHH win the Super High Roller just months after taking down the SCOOP main event.
Maybe we'll top it, maybe we won't, but what do you say we give it a shot?
Well, the latest stats are ready for review. Let's do this. Here's where things stand. 108 tournaments have been played, more than 450,000 total entries, prize money 38.7 million with nearly 5.8 million paid to winners. We're going to break down those numbers and discuss today's top stories with Howard Swains in just under an hour's time. Right now we're getting up to speed on event 34M. 614 entries, 9 remain. Fabiano Kovalsky is the chip leader, following his top 5 finish in the high version of this event, the Super High Roller. And 5th in chips, Lex Veldhuis, looking to win his first WCOOP trophy. Obviously, he's streaming the final table himself on Twitch, but I caught up with Mr. V before he went live this afternoon. Well, Lex, before we discuss this event specifically, we're now just over a week into WCOOP 2021. How are you feeling about the series?
I feel really good about the stream and about the grind and my energy level and stuff. The one thing that's a little bit lacking behind is poker poker performances. So I didn't have any big scores yet, and I'm buying in for ridiculous amounts actually this time around. I've been really studying hard, been working on my game a lot, so I'm super confident. So I'm investing in that. But you know, that's the name of the game during these series, and I feel like everything that's under my control, I'm doing really well. So I have to say, like, overall, I'm really pleased.
Yeah, and here you are with a chance to turn things around at the final table of a 3-day tournament. Have those first 2 days taken their toll?
It's actually okay. I mean, I honestly, sometimes I feel like during these grinds that the off days are the worst, because after an off day, I have a little bit of trouble getting going again. And when you're in that train, you're just like, okay, I wake up, I spend time with my family for 2 hours, and then I go back into the layer. So I'm absolutely fine with grinding 3-day tournaments. And it was also kind of nice. For a Twitch streamer, it's great to have a day 3, like to put day 3 in your title and have that momentum build up to it. Like, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Suffice to say, some tough opponents at this FT, not least Kovalsky won, who we were watching in the Super High Roller last night.
Yeah, he's a really good player, and you can just tell, like, everybody's really aggressive. Every hand seems to be a 3-bet, re-raised pot, but that's the way of the high rollers, you know, and that's only going to get more competitive at the final table. So I wonder what the seeding will be, and we're just going to have to, navigate ourselves through spots, and in the end it's going to come down to who gets cards. But I'm really confident that in the event where I do not get cards, that I'll be able to pick my spots as well. So we'll see. I'm super confident at final tables. I have a pretty good finish rate in them. So yeah, I don't know, I'm ready.
Well, you know, Lex, we try not to be biased. Tonight we might not be able to help ourselves. It's Fabiano Kovalsky all the way. I'm kidding. Best of luck, Lex. We look forward to railing you to victory.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Have fun with the broadcast.
And here's what Lex and the others are playing for at the final table. All no guaranteed, just over 19 grand. 6-figure scores for the top 3, more than 200K up top, plus the WCOOP trophy. And as we get cards in the air at the final table, let's welcome Maria Ho to the broadcast. Maria, great to have you with us.
Hello, guys. This is exciting.
It is indeed. Blinds are 80,000, 160,000. And let's get the disclaimer. Let's get the warning out first. I know Lex is streaming this. He generally is on a 5 to 6 minute delay because we're showing the whole cards of all the players at the final table. We are on a 30-minute delay. If you're dual streaming, if you're watching a bit of Lex and coming in here, please, guys, no spoilers. Please do not tee up what's going to happen. Don't say you're here to see specific hole cards. Otherwise, you will be banned. Not just a timeout, not just a Joe Stapleton ban. I mean, a proper ban.
I mean, if you spoil this, I'll spoil you, is really the only way to look at this. Also, I would say, to take that one step further, don't come close to spoil or joke about spoiling, because I ain't going to take any chances today. So even like, I'd say be careful on even predicting what might happen, because I might think it's a spoiler.
Yeah. Well, here we have the chip leader, Fabiano Kovalsky, second night in a row. We've had him on a final table that we've been streaming, and he is raising with 8-4 suited. I am Ivar with ace deuce suited, folds, and so it's Zyxel in the big blind.
Yeah, a little bit of a
Zyxel.
tight fold out of the small blind, but obviously ICM and all that, guys.
And it is top pair for Zyxel, a player from Russia who qualified via a $109 satellite. Don't know that much more about them, but I did use this marvelous website I found earlier on called Google. And apparently, Zyxel uses AI and the cloud to deliver rapid, reliable, and secure networking solutions for business and home users. Go Zyxel.
That sounds like maybe unfair assistance if it's using the cloud.
So Zyxel now a 91% favorite with top pair. No flush draw now for Fabiano Kovalsky, just the gut shot.
I was just about to... Oh, boy.
Ooh.
Rivers it.
Yikes.
Oh, baby. Yeah, Zyxel, more like Yikesel.
Okay, question, Maria. How much does Zyxel lose here?
You know, there's a couple of missed draws out there. I feel like Kovalsky might go on the larger side. So, you know, Zyxel has the 10, which is somewhat relevant, you know, does make it a little less likely that Kovalsky has a hand like Jack 10, which is one of the more obvious bluffs. So could maybe find a fold. I doubt it. I don't know. Depends on the sizing, of course, but considering this is a 2-street pot, yep, very large sizing coming out of Kovalsky, and
Over bets the pot. 1.68 into 1.54.
Speaking of relevant cards, the King of Clubs, of course, relevant as well to a certain degree, but I don't know. You know that in this spot, you're expecting the chip leader to put a lot of pressure on you. But as played, it doesn't feel quite as bluff heavy. I think that they would expect Kovalsky to try to triple barrel with a lot of their bluffs, especially if they turn equity with a backdoor flush draw or backdoor straight draw. They would most likely barrel again versus checking back.
And there is the call, and that is a 4.9 million chip pot, which goes in the direction of the chip leader, Fabiano Kovalsky, extending his advantage at this 9-handed final table, 16.8 million now, as we see Lex Veldhuis pick up the Grafton, 10-9 suited. Obviously, we've spent so much time talking about Kovalsky and Lex. There are some other players we should name check. We've got the Fat Cat here. We've got Krakukra, a.k.a. Konstantin Maslak. We've got Perry Mason, Jerry O'Dean. We've got Sami Kellepuro, Lars Luzak. There is a lot of talent at this FT.
There's a lot of talent in like the lower left-hand side of this FT, let alone the entire full ring of FT.
And let's see what happens here, because we've got ace queen for Kovalsky, and Maslak the Fat Cat has got pocket nines in the big blind. The raise is to 384,000.
Barring ICM, you would see the nines shove a lot of the time here, but obviously, all things considered, a call is definitely in order. But you expect that the chip leader is going to be opening quite wide. You're pretty happy with nines, even on this flop.
And yeah, you talk about ICM, Maria. The specific reference here is to Lars Lusak, Sami Kalapuro, who came into this final as the short stack, just 1.8 million. 10 bigs.
Oh boy,
I mean,
what a day.
Is he going to get there on the river every single time?
Yeah, luckily that's the type of river that I think we can see Krakukra finding a fold, just because the flush does come in. And again, this line of bet, check, bet doesn't feel quite as bluff heavy coming out of an aggressive player, just because you would expect that they're going to triple if they're trying to put a lot of pressure on the type of value hands you may have here from the big. And this sizing, you know, just over half pot doesn't feel that bluffy.
Good laydown.
Yeah. But Kovalsky up over 18 million now. That is a 100 big blind stack, more than 100 bigs.
All right, Sammy, GL.
Well, all in with tens. I am Ivar with the snowmens.
Nom 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 nom.
Nah.
Yeah,
That's
I think
my
the problem
analysis.
with the
Nah.
eights here. Yeah, I think the problem with the eights here, I would have to agree with you, Joe. I think that the problem is just that there's a lot of players left to act behind you. It's pretty much your whole stack, obviously. If you end up calling here and losing, now you become the short stack. You will have the most pressure in terms of having to be the first person eliminated here, and wanting to ladder, that was a good fold.
Maybe Kovalsky can take a hand off. Not the best seat draw in the world for Lex, having Kovalsky on his direct left.
Oh yeah,
we
what
have
about
Lex
now?
opening with ace king, couple of other small aces, ace deuce for I am Ivar, ace tray for Zeixel. It's going to be folded to Sami Kalapuro in the big blind with 9-7, who defends. And it's a low board, ace high, still ahead. Lex gets it done, hovering around the 5 million mark. Blinds will be up in 14 minutes time, and now we are at the final table. Now we are down to the last 9. The blind levels will be at 30 minutes for the rest of this tournament.
Lex's coaches are going to love that last hand. He's going to have a little pile of treats later for every hand he plays well. That small C-bet, that's a treat right there. You get a treat for that.
I mean, are we talking like physical treats, like pieces of candy, or just a little tickle under the chin?
No, we're talking like a hickory stick.
Aw. I kind of feel that the inevitable is going to happen here, right? Zeixel with top pair, Kovalsky with a gut shot. So What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Is it the 8 or the queen?
Well, blockers aren't real, so it's definitely going to be the queen.
Okay.
Yeah, just from the first couple of hands, it kind of feels like Zeisel and Kovalsky is destined to tangle, so I feel it coming.
Kovalsky calls, does not make the straight on the turn. Would like to point out that the last time Kovalsky was in a not dissimilar situation, had 9% equity on the turn. Here has a whole 16.
We all know that the more equity you have, the less likely you're going to get there, though, James. It's the too many outs thing.
Oh, I see. Well, Kovalsky now betting 880,000 into 1.9 million. And Zeisel going, the board's getting straight here. Don't do this to me again. Come on.
You just sort of snake bit with top pair here.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Oh, Kovalsky doesn't get there. But just to go back to your point, Joe, just to go back to Joe's point about Zeisel being snake bit, if Kovalsky decides to bluff this, having semi-bluffed the turn, is there any chance that Zeisel folds top pair?
I think there's even less chance he folds top pair on this type of board than the last one. Oh,
It's
man.
near enough a loss. And that is 75% of Zeisel's stack.
I might have to go now.
Wow.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just unfair. That's so unfair.
Fabiano
But that does
Kovalsky
feel-
continues to crush. Close to 20 million chips
definitely-
now.
It just feels like you're getting bullied left and right, but it's hard after you lose a pot right off the bat like that. But sometimes you got to stand up to the guy.
Yeah, well, we watched Fabiano Kovalsky in action last night. 5th place finish in the high version of Event 34. That was the 25K Super High Roller. Looking to close out the medium tonight. Meanwhile, Zeisel, who's had a rough start to this final table, has picked up the pocket rockets. And this is the way he's thinking, revenge, revenge.
You know, so many reasons to try to get tricky with this from the big blind, especially against the button open of Kovalsky. But you are also looking at Lars Luzak still sitting there with a shorter stack than you. And,
Yeah.
you know, you just put in the 3-bet.
Just over $1 million. And okay, Kovalsky's got the better of this guy on a couple of occasions and does have position. However, Queen 7 offsuit, that's a fold. Zeisel gets a little bit back, but Kovalsky still dominating this FT with a stack of 19.5 million. And are we going to see Lars Luzak all in again? Ace, Queen. Yep. Open shoves. So the good news is that even if Lex is the first player to bust this final table, at least he will have finally made a profit in this specific event. Lex in for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 buy-ins. And therefore needed to get 15th or better in order to actually not make a loss on this.
Well, I mean, why is that even if Lex is the next player out? I mean, there's like 4 shorter stacks. What are you doing?
I'm just highlighting the fact that he's finally going to make a profit now. When you're in for 4 bullets, you need to go deep. You can't just min cash this thing. It's not an inconsiderable number of buy-ins. Just pointing that out. I'm either getting no action from the Kings. I'm either's in for 2 bullets, Krakukra and Decor 3 apiece. And it's a raise from I Am Ivor with ace-5.
Definitely a little bit of a loose open, just trying to take advantage of the fact that now that the chip leader is out of the pot, they feel like they might have a clearer route, but not against the other guy who has a big stack behind him.
Yeah. Folded around to the blinds. Decor in the small with King 4. Jerry O'Dean, Perry Mason in the big with 9-8. Jerry is a player with over $8.4 million in online earnings, has 2 scoop titles to his name, but is yet to win a WCOOP trophy. And Jerry, aka Perry, has paired his 8 on this flop.
King high in a blind versus blind spot. Yeah, king high looks kind of good, but again, you know, no reason to get involved right now unnecessarily. You're probably not going to get a cheap showdown there, so might as well let it go.
Wooly asking of the 614 field, how many are rebuys? Re-entries rather than rebuys. I know it's a technicality, but there is a difference. 406 entries, 208 re-entries. So just over 400 unique players in this thing. Guarantee was set at $1 million. Actual prize pool, 1,228,000. A 3-day event. I played into the money on Sunday and then played down to the final table last night. And a follow-up question on the final table from Indicium X, asking why in an 8-max tournament is there a 9-handed final table? It's a fair question.
Agree. Boo. Software glitch.
Not a software glitch, purely because if you were to then try and play down to a final table from a table of 4 and a table of 5, it would be imbalanced. You could do what we sometimes do at live events, where you merge the field at 9 and keep going until you lose a player to play down to 8. It's a lot easier just to say, if you've made the last table, you've made the final table. So you go max +1 for the FT, just as you do in 6-max. You'll see in the PLO events. It's a 7-handed final table. It's the max +1 for the final.
I'd like to address this question from Adam Skeed, who says, what's the funniest name you've seen at a final table? L. Veldhuis. That was pretty hilarious.
Can we just address the fact that I heard Lex say that he's playing a ton of buy-ins, you know, he put in a lot of work on his game and he feels really confident. But can we add to that there is definitely a new dad run good situation that is in play here? Because in Stapes and my home game, we have a couple of new-ish dads that have run extremely well, and I think that's a large enough sample to declare this.
Definitely. So the 2 we know of, crushing it, and that is definitive in my book.
Absolutely. I mean, any scientific study would absolutely conclude that a sample size of 2 is definitive proof. Meanwhile, top pair for I Am Ivor, the wheel draw for Zyxel, who's got artisanal sourdough.
Ooh, sourdough suited. Which is artisanal. There goes my keto diet. So we have I Am Ivar. Who's the guy we had earlier? Vigar.
PV.
Maybe time for another conclusive study of the Ivar Vigars. I feel like if it's fair, which it isn't, Zyxel's going to make the gut shot here.
I'm afraid.
That's only if he wants to call a half pot. Yeah.
Come on.
He's
Flush
rivered
draw?
a flush
Anyone?
draw.
Things aren't fair. We know that already. Oh, Filthy Card noting that there is a lot of up dog value here.
Once bitten, twice shy, Joe Stapleton. Lex with queens. That looks like a baby. 320,000.
Looks like a potentially good spot for Kovalsky holding that ace-6 suited to get involved, especially because having Lex covered, being in position, decent hand to continue.
Kovalsky has been known to get lucky with these gut shots.
Yeah, and even when he doesn't get there, he gets the
320,000.
best hand to fold, so.
That's true. That's true. Lex not folding queens on a 9-high flop for 320,000, but decides, in fact, to raise.
Oh, boy. One
Lex
eight,
trying
two,
to
eight,
deny
three,
equity.
eight.
Yeah, if you play this way, it looks fairly committing, and you know that there's a lot of draws out there, so definitely want to put maximum pressure on anybody trying to continue here with a draw.
So Kovalsky calling in position, taking this hand to the turn. King of spades, now an overcard to Lex's pair. 3.3 million in the pot, and Lex has got 3 mil behind. All in.
Good for you, Lex. Good for you for not check folding this king like I would have.
Yeah. And Lex up over 6 million. That was a significant pot for Mr. Veldhuis. Meanwhile, blinds are now up to 100,000, 200,000. And action's been folded to the chip leader. Kovalsky has dropped down to 17.7 million. Still a commanding lead over the rest of the table. I Am Ivor, King Jack. And it's raise and take it. Oh, I think we could be about to flip a coin, ladies and gentlemen. Lars Luzak, Sami Kilapuro opening here with ace-king suited. Likely to see a 3-bet from 3D Temujin, and that will probably induce the shove from Sami.
Oh, yeah, with everybody else covered.
Oh, instead it's the shove from the jacks, the
Danger.
call all in. And we're off to the races. Ace or a king required. Nope. And Sami Kelapuro becomes the first player eliminated from the final table. Busts in 9th place. Lars Luzak cashing for $19,306. And 3D Temujin chipping up to nearly 15 million. Closing in on the chip leader.
Lars Luzak, more like Lars Lu... Oh, hold on. That's accurate for that hand.
So now you have your 8-handed final table in an 8-max MTT.
Yay.
Happy now?
Technically, it's 8 max min right now.
And the world makes sense again, guys.
Top pair versus top pair. Lex with the better kicker and a 4-1 favorite. And Lex still with the advantage.
Noise Soily asks, can someone tell me last hand what happened? No, we could tell you this hand. That it was Ace-King versus Jacks. It would be hard to go back in time and tell you last hand. Thank you for your question.
Both players
1.8.
probably feeling pretty good about this river card. I don't think it's, out of the realm of possibility that Perry would bet for value. And of course, Lex makes the quick call.
Yeah, and he's chipped up to nearly 8 million now, continuing to move up. And let's just check on the leaderboard. We've established that Kovalsky 1 still has the chip lead, but only just ahead of 3D Temujin. Lex Veldhuis now the 3rd biggest stack. And following the elimination of Lars Luzak, it is Decor, who is now the shortest stack at the table, the Lithuanian playing 2.6 million right now. And we've got 3D Temujin opening with 10s. What do we know about 3D? From Kazakhstan, nearly 2 million in online earnings. Won a WCOOP title back in 2016. Also has a Scoop title, which they won last year.
Every once in a while, someone from Kazakhstan pops up. I wonder if it's the same person. Pretty sure that's the Kazakhstan flag in the avatar. I wonder if that's them in front of it.
That's a cool photo. I mean, if it's...
Yeah. Either way, it's kind of a cool photo.
And we've got Ace-King for Jerry O'Dean, but it's Decor tanking with the Jack-9, makes the fold. And Jerry's going to make it 452,000. So Kovalsky on the button with ace-5. I'm either with a decent holding in the small blind, king-queen of diamonds. A min-raise from the
sourdough. Bargain, basement, day-old sourdough, ace-5, offsuit. Ripe for a 3-bet. Yikes.
But let's be honest, like, there's no such thing as a bad carb. Yeah, but I don't think ace-5 could call here.
If he has ace-8, he could have ace-king. Close one.
Pocket sixes for Zeixel in a small blind versus big blind situation. Just gets it in, gets a fold.
Pretty happy for those spots being that short. Not facing any raises, being able to shove just one player to worry about.
Lex back in action, raising with ace-king.
Yeah, I mean, solid card distribution for Lex, right? Pocket queens, ace king. I think he had another ace king too, maybe? Am I just making that up?
No, he did. He did. I think.
Oh, and he's been re-raised.
Uh-oh.
Kovalsky getting spicy.
And even though ace king is such a good hand, and normally you might just 4-bet jam, you understand the circumstances, and still go for it.
I think
That's
Kovalsky
good.
might be committed.
Good to see.
Not committed. Thank you to those of you pointing out the hashtag fun fact and the connection between this final table and the replay that we had on the PokerStars Twitch channel this afternoon. It was the 5-card PLO, which played down to a winner last night, and 3D Temujin was at that final table and cashed out in 5th place for $20,000. So back-to-back final tables for 3D, back-to-back final tables for Kovalsky 1.
Time to get Kazakhstan on that leading countries list. Just a skosh behind Brazil.
Oh, Maria, I need to bring you up to speed with the plan we've got for the next online series. Just want to see how this plays out. The Grafton, 10-9 suited for Kovalsky, is open to 400k. Jerry Odin with ace-king of diamonds. Gets it in, and Kovalsky no longer chip leader. 3D's now in the catbird seat. And yes, a couple of Sam Grafton references there, because that is the plan, Maria. Next time we do a stream, we're all going to go to Brazil. We're all going to stay in Sam's apartment, and we're all going to stream from Brazil.
Okay. So far, I feel like I like the idea. I have a few questions, though, some follow-ups. One, how has Sam's internet been so far? Is the connection
Solid.
pretty good?
Connection has been very good.
Okay.
That's a good question.
How
though.
many
Good question.
bedrooms? How many bedrooms does he have? Because I call dibs on the guest bedroom.
Okay. There might not be a guest bedroom. I don't know.
Maria?
I haven't actually done my due diligence with this idea. It probably sounds better in theory than it's going to be in practice.
Maria, we've done the back-to-back head-to-foot thing before. We can do it again. As long as you promise not to eat dairy late at night this time.
The funny thing about this plan is that Sam then remembered that when he worked on the GPL with Griffin a few years ago, they were sharing an apartment for all of 2 weeks, at which point Sam could not take it anymore and changed the terms of his employment to ensure he had his own place. So the idea of Griffin being part of the team is kind of like, is like giving Sam a little bit of doubt about committing to this plan.
So, you know when I worked for that...
Isn't that obvious?
Go on, Maria.
I was just going to say, is it that obvious that in that scenario, it was Sam who wanted out of the living situation first? Is it? I don't know why. For me, it's like it could have been gone either way. I don't know.
You know that, look, I love Griffin, but he is really, really, really annoying. Like, can you imagine just Like Griffin, when he's like on one, will send me like 10 to 12 memes per hour. Can you imagine if he could just pop his head into your bedroom and be like, hey, 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 hey.
Good point.
I think the culmination of the problems was when Griffin came back at 3 in the morning and wandered into Sam's bedroom just wearing his pants. UK definition.
Yeah.
And
Also,
we've got
I
another
worked for that-
on blind situation.
Worked for that same company, which will remain nameless. And I remember, ooh. I remember I worked for them for like 2 or 3 weeks in Vegas once, and I changed hotels like 4 times because they kept moving me based on the room rates going up and down. I stayed at Planet Hollywood. I stayed at Tropicana. I stayed at MGM. I stayed at Treasure Island.
I'm dying. I had no idea.
It was like Hotel Tonight every day. It was like, where's the dice gonna land this time?
They were like using their comps to book your room too. Like it wasn't even under your name. You couldn't even check in. Somebody had to go check in for you.
I had to ask the concierge for the key.
Joe, you wanted some justice for Zyxel. Are you happy to see Zyxel turn the flush here and be facing a bet of $500,000?
Yeah, 3D Temujin can handle it, can afford it. I like to see the wealth spread around. You know, if we're up to me, it would just be a bubbleless tournament and everyone would just get most of their money back.
Stapes is the first person to ask for like a 20-way chop.
Every time. All right, Zyxel.
So it is Konstantin Maslak, the fat cat, Krakukra, who is the shortest stack right now, with 11 big blinds, having posted 200K in this hand. And it's Jerry O'Dean opening with 7s.
Stapes, I just want to say, though, that I feel like that was a little bit earlier on in your commentary career. Now I feel like it's safe to say that
like 3 years ago.
First.
If you count COVID, it was literally the last gig I worked.
You guys, literally, I'm crying. Like, I'm actually crying. Somebody get me a tissue. Oh my God. My eyes are watering.
Joe's like Orson Welles. He's doing it backwards. Like Welles started with Citizen Kane and everything else got worse. Joe started with The Big Game, nightly TV show on Fox, and everything since then has gone the other direction.
Oh, it's been a fun ride downhill.
Well, pair of jacks are still good. The fat cat gonna win some much needed chips here.
It's definitely worth mentioning that I also audition regularly for like voiceover for commercials, and the only one I booked in the last 2 years, they replaced me with the guy that did the scratch track. They were like, oh, it turns out the guy that we used to send you the example of what we wanted it to sound like is better than you. So we're going to use him instead. And they tried to not pay me. Bald ass. So if everything went downhill, this here is the bottom. Oh, no. Don't. There's still always a little bit more room.
When Joe realizes that he hasn't been booked and all he can do is just post random comments in the Twitch chat, that will be potentially rock bottom. Still doing my bits in Twitch chat.
Right. Joe Stapleton, just chatting.
Okay, this is interesting. Decor, one of the, in fact, the short stack now with jacks. Opening raise from Kovalsky, and if Decor decides to get it in here, what does Jerry O'Dean do with ace queen?
Yeah, definitely an interesting spot because you know that Decor has the least to lose being the shortest stack, and shoving over Kovalsky's open could potentially mean a good hand, but also maybe a little bit wider than a hand like Jack's, just because we see how active Kovalsky's been. But, you know, for Perry, I think just too many chips there.
And Kovalsky's Kojak goes in the muck. Decor chips up to just shy of 4 million. And on we go. Blinds up in 12 minutes time. I'm either opening with fives. And that's a set of fives. How does Kovalsky feel with 3 to a flush, 3 to a straight? Nah.
I think for a smaller
this one
sizing,
go.
Kovalsky would have felt better about it. But yeah, just under half pot, a little too rich even for that 14 million stack.
Too rich for my blood.
Too rich for my blood. James, you know what? Go on.
Just very
Mine's
quickly,
evergreen. You can do ball.
42. Ball 42 asks, where are the background voices coming from? Someone got their TV running. Sorry, but they do pay us to speak. James Hutchinson, Joe Stapleton, Maria Ho, providing the commentary. We are the voices that you can hear right now. You can also see our faces. Hello.
I wanted to float a couple of podcast guests while it's on my mind for the future.
Ooh, a floater.
One is that so I've been rewatching Deadwood, and I totally
Okay.
forgot that there are 2 cast members in Deadwood who are big poker players, and one of them, I believe, is a WSOP bracelet holder.
Well, this is interesting. This is news to me. I
you wanna
didn't know
do a
that
guess
any of
as
the
to
cast
who
of
it is?
Deadwood. Well, I don't think Timothy Oliphant has a World Series of Poker bracelet because I would have heard about it. Same for Lovejoy. I doubt he has one.
Lovejoy.
Trying to think. Anna Gunn? No. It's going to be one of the... I'm assuming it's one of the guys.
Well, yes, as far as the bracelet's concerned.
Oh, so the other person is a female
There's a
actor.
person I've played poker with multiple times, a female actor on the show. But yes,
Not
the
Anna
bracelet
Gunn.
winner, not Anna Gunn. You would have heard about that by now. What do we got here? 10s are good. I don't mean to just ignore what's happening in the poker
Sorry.
this time. Sometimes I do, this time I don't. It's not Jennifer Tilly, Diva Esquire. Hello. What's up, Diva? Nice to see you.
I don't think Jennifer Tilly was ever in Deadwood.
Correct.
There's, I forget her name, the one who also plays Ray Donovan's wife.
Her name is Paula Malcolmson. It is not her.
Not her. Okay.
Not her.
Then there's... God, I'm so bad with names. The one who was then in Lost in Space.
It's... nope, that's Molly Parker. Not her. It is...
Molly Parker.
You know how there's a couple people on the show who are actually somewhat historically accurate?
Calamity Jane.
Calamity Jane, played by
Robin
Weigert.
Yep.
Sorry. I have played poker with her on multiple occasions.
Cool. And there
We
is
still
another
haven't
actor in the show who is a World
Yeah,
Series
who's-
of Poker bracelet winner.
I believe he's like a low ball champion or something, like a mixed game bracelet from like the 90s, though. Not like... Let me see if I can
Maria, do you know the answer to this?
figure out which
I
event
have
it is.
no clue.
So it's not going to be Carradine. It's not going to be...
I think Carradine does play poker, but he's not the one I'm referring to, no.
Oh, look at this.
Ooh.
The fat cat flops it.
What the heck?
Also, because this is a monotone board, seeing that Kovalsky did open, this is the type of board that they're going to represent. Nice to have the nut flush here.
I can't believe what an exciting moment it is to flop a flush on a monotone board. I'm just so happy for Krakukra.
I'm going to assume that Kovalsky's not firing again.
Maybe I made up the fact that this guy has a bracelet because I can't find it.
Okay. Well, let's see how this plays out, Joe. I assume we're not going to see Kovalsky put any more chips in this pot, and then you can put us all out of our misery. Come on, Fat Cat. 1.139 million. Kovalsky will still
nice-
have the chip lead after this hand.
Nice idea.
I mean, Kovalsky will still have the chip lead if he folds, which he does. And there we go. The Fat Cat up to 4 million. Kovalsky still leads with 13.6 million. So who is the other Deadwood cast member who plays poker?
Keone Young, a.k.a. Mr. Wu, is a poker player.
Oh, Mr. Wu and his pigs.
That's right.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh dear. Decor has just flopped top pair. However, that 9 kicker ain't any good because Kovalsky's got the ace.
Speaking of being fed to the pigs,
Kovalsky,
Yeah, and a pretty
that's
sizable
500,000.
bet here. It's so hard when you flop top pair against what you believe is a wide range open, and now you're kind of stuck in a spot where you just have to assume your hand is good, and you're going to assume that Kovalsky is going to be putting a lot of pressure on multiple streets, but can you get away?
Oh, another half pot bet from Kovalsky. This is getting expensive for Decor.
Maria, is there something to, like, I feel like most of the time you can look at this and be like, oh, this is the big stack. Oh, this is, and then they just have it so often. Is that just a perception, or is this hand, Queen 9, just a hand where you're going to go broke here when this happens?
I mean, I think that you're going to assume Kovalsky is doing all of the things that you would expect somebody with such a big stack to do. And if you're going to defend from the big blind and flop top pair, it feels like you might just have to go with it. Of course, this river making 10-9 a straight, but you also have a 9 in your hand, so...
Run away,
if
run away.
Decor all in, which they do, and we have our 8th place finisher, Decor, dispatched by the chip leader, cashes for nearly $24,000. We are now down to 7 as Fabiano Kovalsky moves back up to around 18 million chips. And this will be the last hand of the session. 3D opening with 6-5, but pocket sixes for Jerry O'Dean.
Yeah, in that spot, it just feels like King Queen would have been, you know, a hand that you could get away from, but not Queen 9 because you do block 10-9. So unfortunate.
And we've reached the first break in this 2K event. The players on a 5-minute hiatus. We're going to give Maria a short break as well. It's news time. Last night, we focused on the super high roller, but we need to talk about what else happened on day 8 of the series. As we welcome back our WCOOP correspondent.
He's got the looks, he's got the brains, he's Howard Sways.
That he is. And Howard, aside from KZHH, who were the notable winners last night?
Well, by far the most notable was Dmitry Urbanovich, who I am sure you remember. There was a period, of course, when he used to win absolutely everything on the EPT. And he's still kind of doing it online, to be honest. He's based in Latvia now. He plays on PokerStars' Coliseum. Last night, he won a 1K Hold'em event for 77K. That's now his 6th WCOOP title, which puts him tied 3rd for most titles of all. Interestingly enough, that was actually his first Hold'em title. He's won in all the other variants. So, you know, Coliseum, Urbanovich is still going strong. We had a couple of other standout victories. Manuel Rivo, he plays as Felatido, and Alex Better. We first interviewed Rivo a few years ago when he won the Sunday warm-up, and he said that he wanted to win a scoop and a WCOOP. Now he won a scoop, and now he's won a WCOOP, and it was a Sunday warm-up again. So that's good. That was for 75K. And Alex Better, that's his screen name, by the way, not his real name. He won 2 Stadium Series titles, so you might remember him from that.
Yeah.
I heard one Brazilian kind of name in there. Has Brazil beaten their single series record yet?
Well, actually, you know, this is once in a blue moon kind of day, because last night Brazil did not win a single tournament. As crazy as that sounds, they are stuck on 21 wins. Russians won 2 tournaments last night. They're 8 titles back now. 27 different countries have won one tournament so far this year, but last night there were no Brazilians.
Well, I know there's something called Raz restarting right around now. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, Raz. Well, it's not a tournament we usually cover that closely. The low and the medium have already finished, but the high, the 1K, is playing its final table today. And Parker Talbot's on the final table, Tonka. So Urbanovich cashed in that one, but he's gone now. Tonka, he won a WCOOP last year, so he's now trying to get on that multiple champions list.
That's great news for Tonka, but I more meant, what is Raz?
Well, don't worry, Joe. If you watch the final table replay tomorrow afternoon, I'm sure you'll get some insight. Now, Howard, we're probably going to be asking this question every day from now on. Any change in the player of the series race?
It's a good question to ask, because this is going to be exciting. We probably don't make enough of the fact there's 25K online for the winner here, so remember that. But the top 5 today is actually exact same places as they were yesterday. Patrick Leonard gained 5 points on this Camille Lance guy. And PhoneBet Roulette closed the gap from 3rd to 2nd. He came 3rd in a Raz tournament, so he's creeping up behind Patrick Leonard. But officially no real change.
Okay, well, obviously we'll keep tabs on that. And worth also clarifying that while that's the overall contest, there are also player of the series leaderboards for the 3 buy-in tiers: high, medium, and low. Howard, always a pleasure, never a chore. We'll do it all again tomorrow.
Cheers, James. See you later. Bye-bye.
And that is the 2021 World Championship of Online Poker trophy. It is sleek, it is stylish, it is potentially lethal. We saw Konstantin Maslak as a contender for Player of the Series, and he is at the final table of the event we're streaming this evening. The Fat Cat Krakukra has 19 big blinds, one off the bottom at Zeixel, who is the shortest stack right now with 17 bigs. All eyes on players like Jerry O'Dean, Lex Veldhuis, and our chip leader, Fabiano Kovalsky, as we continue to play down from the final 7 to a winner for the first prize of just over $200,000, plus that all-important WCOOP title and trophy. We're going to head back to the final table, cards in the air very shortly. I'm going to take a hiatus from commentary duties and leave you in the company of Maria Ho and Mr. Joe Stapleton.
Hello, my babies. Welcome back to event number 34 medium. It's medium, but Lex Veldhuis currently living large. I guess that real living large belongs to Kovalsky. James Hardigan. Oh, hey, buddy. All right, take it easy. Maybe pull over before you finish that. I guess.
I don't know. Is it that dangerous though? I'm not saying I'm advocating this, but like drinking while driving a golf cart feels a little safer than operating a full-on car.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with it feeling a little bit safer. Also, it's a cartoon, so, you know, it's fine.
Yeah.
Whoa, got a hand here. It's Lex. It's your boy, Lex Veldhuis. Quing suited. Kovalsky does like to attack from the small blind occasionally. This time, lets it go with 8 high. I am Ivar with ace tray.
Yeah, feels standard to at least defend against a button open.
Ivar hits a pair that's fairly likely to be good on an 8 high board. Of course, a lot of folks are raising pretty wide on the button, so it's hard to exactly put them on a hand. Pretty sure I am Ivar is happy at this point.
Yeah, and it's a great turn because it's also a turn card that you expect the button to try to represent. And so it's a little nice when a card comes off that improves your hand to this type of 2-pair situation, and your opponent is likely to bluff.
To bluff or have it. Have that particular card, I should say. Lex bets 700,000 into a pot of just over $1 million. Ivar putting in the raise now. Snap fold by Lex. Blind's going up. 250,000 is the big blind. Action folds around to Kovalsky, who folds the button. 10 deuce off. Leaving this to Ivar and Zeixel. And Ivar just shoves. Ooh. Question from Elp Meme, who says, I've got my stopwatch running. How long until Joe annoys Maria? How long until there's a top pot?
That would be one way to do it.
Ace King suited, or as Maria likes to call it, big slick energy. Ooh, 4s fold. Ace 10 folds. King 6 is like, I guess I have to defend this. And it's top pair for both players. Another domination situation. Kicker problems for the player from Kazakhstan. There
Real
is the
small
continuation.
Yeah, you just have such a clean, dry looking board. Really no sense in going bigger, especially when you have the range advantage as well.
Temujin checks. Perry
Definitely going to
pretty
size
likely
up
to,
now.
Yep, keep betting. Leave it to big, slick energy to size up, right? There it is, 1.4, 2/3 of the pot. This is a magnum-sized turn bet. And no help for Temujin. Gonna lose this at showdown. Perry with almost an exactly pot-sized bet left behind.
Are they going to find the max value button is the question.
Will they get paid on the max value button?
Who knows? But you won't know until you put the chips in there.
Are you ever afraid of King 10 here? Nope.
Not
paid, but
big
that's
slick
pretty...
energy, remember? What is big
right,
slick
I
energy
forgot.
afraid of? Anything? Anybody? No.
Perry Mason up over 10 million in chips now. That's good for second on the leaderboard. Kovalsky back in action. Ace-9 suited. Krakukra with some blue raspberry royal cards. And flops 2 more blue raspberries. Kovalsky with another small C-bet. Any options here besides just calling?
I mean, you feel like you have a ton of equity, right? And so
Ayo.
I think that this looks like a good play, especially when you assume that Kovalsky is going to be c-betting a high percentage of the time. You can just shut things down right there. Don't even have to hit your 2 overs or flush draw.
And now this is the fun part about being the most active player at the table. You get to raise with queens now, and nobody suspects it. Krakukra in the small with a hand that you may choose to attack and open for the chip leader and just folds it.
Yeah,
How do
I think
they
that's
know? How do
the
they do it?
It is the beauty of being in a situation where you have the big stack, where you've been opening at a very high frequency, and then you know you've lost some credibility, and then you just get a premium hand. But nobody wanted to come along there.
Seismic chimes in to say, Joe, you can always check, fold, and or bet raise. You know what else I can do? Ban, and or ban. You're banned. Thank you for your comment.
Joe, is it nice to have the AC working and the power on in your house?
Yes, it is. It sure is. I mean, on the one hand, I wouldn't have to work. On the other hand, I would just be laying on the slab of marble in my bedroom so that I can breathe. We've got Lex and Kovalsky heads up in the blinds, 10 high, 2 clubs. Lex firing. Oh, I think that means we're going to get a fold. Right on the baby's face, too. I mean, that's just...
I was just going to
Nope, not a
say...
fold.
I was just going to say, though, the placement of the tissue paper is just oddly perfect.
And what a turn card here. Lex picks up a pair. Flush draw for Kovalsky, as well as a straight draw now. I mean, that's what's so difficult about poker, right? Like, looks like Lex is going to win this if we actually get to showdown. Will Kovalsky let that happen? I mean, Lex bets, right? And King 9, which really hasn't connected with that board at all, still calls. Like, poker's so hard. Like, if you can't get King 9 with one heart to fold, like, what shot do any of us have?
To be fair, though, it is a blind versus blind spot. So, you know, King 9 actually doesn't look that bad. And again, the power of the back doors. Gingerbread! That's cute. That's new, right? I don't think I've seen a gingerbread man before.
Buck Steve asked, Joe, why do you have a slab of marble in your bedroom? It's called the floor. Thank you for your question. Lex up, back up to 7.7 million. I am Ivar, decides to just call. Both players miss. Queen high winning for now. One spade for Kovalsky. What sorts of boards
really
would
going.
Kovalsky not bet, I guess?
I think there's not very many I can think of, you know, especially.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a lot of board coverage in this spot, right? Because you can rep some of the high cards. You actually have equity with that type of hand when you open with 8-4 suited. So not a whole lot of boards I can see them checking.
So ridiculous. We haven't talked that much about payouts in this. Everybody now guaranteed $32,000. And a ladder at this point is worth $12,000. Which is 1/3 of what Lex spent in this event. Oh, no, it's not. 3/4. Whoops.
Yeah, someone in chat was trying to say, oh, new dad run good. Lex is down 70K this series. But you guys realize that he's in a really good spot to potentially just blow that red out of the water and be well into the black today.
For this event. We have to be clear. Kovalsky back in action. This time's going to run into kings. And how do we play kings? Obviously, 3-betting from the small blind against the chip lead raise makes sense. I think there's multiple ways you can play this. But we've gone with the standard approach here.
So strong, though. You know, you want to disguise the strength of your hand, but you want to protect your chip position as well. And so that's why we see the fold out of the ace-3 suited.
Kukra in the small. So do you play that one a little bit more deceptively with kings in the small there against the chip leader?
Not with the ICM considerations. Again, you know, if this was a different scenario, final few tables, you would really love to try to get max value somehow, especially against an aggressive and active player. But that's just kind of one of those spots where you just hope they have something and you hope you can cooler them. And you just have to be a little more straightforward with it.
Perry Mason getting a little out of line, attacking this limp from Kukra. And wins it with the 6-high pre-flop. Kovalsky under the gun, 10-9. Not even the first final table we've seen Kovalsky at during this WCOOP. Just waiting for James to pop in the chat if I got that wrong. I know he's been on stream. All of a sudden I started second guessing myself that maybe he was part of the top 15 from yesterday.
I was wondering why your eyes were looking all shifty after you said that.
Whenever I say anything, I just look over to chat to see if James is correcting me. Hard draw on the turn now for Perry Mason.
I'm going to give it a go. This isn't the first final table we've seen Kukra at during WCOOP 2021 either.
Yep, okay. I think I can get behind that too.
We're waiting, James.
And Perry Mason misses the flush, but hits the best pair. Don't do it, Lex. There's the fold from Lex. All right, John Delano. I'm late on it, but there you go. Little flaming berry for you. It's flaming bear.
What's the point of
Hallelujah.
having access to the buttons if you don't press them, Stapes?
No, it's a good question. It's a really good question. Temujin re-raising with Queen Jack and gets stationed by Kovalsky with 5-6 off, king high flop. Kovalsky checks. Is Temujin gonna be able to fire on this? Yes. It's that small continuation bet sizing we've seen from most of these players. And finally, somebody bluffs Kovalsky in a hand. I mean, technically with the best hand, but.
And those sizings are just very balanced, right? Given the board texture. So yes, we see that Temujin only had queen high there, but certainly if he had a very strong hand, such as ace king, he would be betting that size as well, which is the important thing to note when thinking about your sizing, boys and girls.
So, okay, what do you think about this? Here's an idea. What if your bet size is literally always dictated by the board? So if it comes up 4, 5, 6, you bet 456,000. No one can get a read on that. 7, 8, 9, you bet 789,000. If it's like 2 diamonds, maybe you take 100K off. What if there was like a formula?
What do you bet when the board is 10, 10, jack?
10, 10, jack? Well, you take the zeros out of it. It's 200,000 J. Oh, you get what I'm saying, though.
No, I get what you're saying. I just want to know what the sizing will be for every type
like everybody's
of board,
always
though,
randomizing.
so
Guess what's already random? The flop.
No, and it makes sense for all of the, ace through 9, but I'm here to ask the tough questions, Joe.
It would be more like, okay, whenever there's a flush draw, I bet 2/3 of the pot. Whenever there's like 3 low cards, I bet like 3/4 of the pot. I bet 56% when there's like 2 8s and a 7. Can never get a read on that. Consistent, balanced. All right, Lex raising
I think I need to start making some Post-its for your... for
Yes.
everything you
Yes,
say.
you do.
Stay.
I found my Post-it, by the way. We're back in with the Post-it. It was left under a day old, like a week old sandwich, but I found it.
You found it after you ate the week old sandwich, obviously.
I got really hungry, and then I was like, "Oh, my Post-it note." Yeah. Poor Lex continuing into the flush draw. At least his jack is good. If he catches one. A large percentage of Zixel's chips go into the pot on this flop raise. Lex releases. Action folds around to I am Ivar. And it's 3D Temujin with pocket nines.
Yeah, and if we're playing for chips here, it's an easy shove. You're going to expect to be up against worse and going to get a lot of folds. That's when it's nice to have your opponent covered.
We spoke about that at length yesterday with Sam Grafton. Yeah, that's right, C-Thrill. Playing for chips again. I thought Sam had maybe just made it up, but if Maria's going to say it too, then I guess there's probably something to it.
You know, let's go back to this whole going to Brazil for the next broadcast idea, Stapes, because I've never been to South America before. And I actually could get behind this idea for real. Like, we need to think about what steps we need to take to make this happen. Have you been to South America before?
I don't think I've technically ever been to South America, no. I've been to Central America.
Right. Same. Do we think that Sam cooks or will have a stocked fridge? Like, what is our food situation going to be like? That's really important for me.
I'm actually on an all plantain diet right now, so that's easy for me. I just it's just different styles of plantains depending on what meal we're at.
You're on a plantain-based diet.
we're gonna fly down there and I'm gonna go to Texas de Brazil every day for dinner. Zixel, pocket nines. Zixel, one of the players at risk. Lex is approaching that sort of risk zone 2 at this point. Not so far away from Zixel and Krakukra. Raise and take it, Zixel. Big Baruti says, Joe, ask Maria, please, is she single? No, thank you for your question. As a no, I will not ask. Thank you for your question.
It's like the new asking a woman her age, you know?
Yeah, if you want to DM me if you want to private message me your phone number, I will send it to Maria's boyfriend, though. Very measured play right now. Haven't really seen too many coolers yet, which honestly, when folks are playing for this kind of money, I like to get a little more frustrated before calling for the coolers. I still like this. A lot of outmaneuvering, a lot of Just good, solid poker playing right now. We'll get to the coolers eventually.
Well, it's really hard for you to multitask, so you can't really be doing commentary and leading this whole situation and cranking it at the same time. You're going to have to wait until you're on your hot dog break.
I've tried to crank it on cam before, and it's just, I'm sweaty, I'm bouncing all over the place, it's hard to focus. Perry Mason continuing with the best hand and gets a fold from Kovalsky. Seriously though, where's all the big cards at? What's happening? I do like sort of watching. Yeah.
I was just going to say, and some of the possible openable hands have not really been in the stacks of people who can open with them. So that's also the problem.
I mean, I do kind of like the action being full to Kovalsky and just watching Kovalsky do his thing to the final table here. As much as I like some of the other players of this table, it is kind of fun sometimes just to watch like a wire-to-wire commanding final table presence, and we haven't seen one of those in a while.
But it's also hard when there's some clear bias, especially from the viewers, for Lex to win.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's preventing Kovalsky from being able to just have a smooth sailing all the way to the finish here.
Well, here we go. Perry Mason, ace queen offsuit, first to act. Whatever plans Lex may have had with ace four suited are now in the bin. Kovalsky, Ivar, and Zixel out of the way. Ace queen suited now. We saw 3D take the aggressive standard approach with the last premium. And this time just flats, and they both hit top pair.
Okay, guys, it's been 27 minutes and 43 seconds since I've been annoyed at Stapes. So here we go. Stop the timer while I warm up my voice.
James and Griffin nailed this yesterday. Absolutely nailed it. Like to the point where I was furious. It was as good as anyone has ever done it.
You act like pressure is going to affect my performance. I live for pressure, Stapes.
Good.
But
I want it to affect your performance and get you up out of the toilet where it's been. Some of the times we've done this.
Listen, just explain to me again. Right after you say it is when I start singing. And I don't slow down in the middle and do my little bit where when I get to the end,
no. No. Don't wait till I get to the end. That's bad.
What?
It's going to be, by the way, this chop pot just got a lot more choppier.
Okay.
Don Clemente says, it'd be great to hear some poker commentary. Well, Don, try another channel. You banned. But so, hey, Maria, what sort of commentary should we do? Are people, I don't know what's going to, what could happen here? What could possibly happen on this hand? .3D bets 3 million on the two pair. Mason calls 3 million with two pair. This hand ends in a chop, and you know what they say? Everyone loves a chop pot.
Everyone loves a chop pot.
I tried a totally different approach that time. That could have been the worst ever, or maybe we're getting closer. Uh-oh, that sounds bad. Ooh, really bad.
Oh no.
That was my fault. That was
I
my
feel
fault.
like
I
you
blame you.
You
I
started
blame
way
you
too soon.
when it's your fault, and I blame me when it's my fault.
Yeah, I mean, you started way too soon because by the time I could hear in my headset that you finished the sentence, I tried to start just slightly before. You started seeing right after you were done. And we both know with the delay, that's not how it works.
I just wanted to try
Ay.
it this one time. I know it's going to seem like I did that on purpose.
I just want to know when James is back from break. Like, not for any specific reason. I'm just curious.
Not for a while. Thank you, Cat Mama, for reminding us 0 synchronization 2 out of 10. That's great. I was wondering where the problem was. I was wondering if we were synchronized. With all the other 0 out of 10s, I was like, well, maybe at least we were synchronized. But no, thank you for your specific note. Thank you for your comment. Zixel, pocket kings under the gun.
I think we're going to see an inevitable clash.
Oh boy!
At least
Jacks for
Zixel
Kovalsky.
pre-flop. Yeah, they're going to be ahead pre. We never know what happens after, but for about 20 bigs effective, just under. Certainly going to be putting all the chips in with Jacks here.
And a very, very strong chance of a Zixel double up. River faded. And Zixel now with over 9 million in chips. Kovalsky no longer chip later. It's Perry Mason now. Barely snaking that title for the time being. Well, let's see if Kovalsky's on tilt. 7-9 suited on the button. These guys don't tilt. Nobody tilts anymore. That's one of the boring things. Oh, not. By the way, I'm not saying this is tilt. I'll get in trouble. I'm just saying that back in the day, if somebody lost an all-in and then 3-bet 7-9 suited, we would say they were on tilt. Now, today, I know nobody tilts anymore, so I'm not saying that.
Definitely puts these jacks in such a tough spot, though, because you see the under the gun open, you see a 3-bet from the button, and now a hand that usually feels like such
genius.
an easy
See,
get in, right?
Tilt.
It's like, oh, it's like, can you really be ahead of these ranges given all the action before you? So cannot blame Ivar for that fold.
Oh, my goodness. See, not only do I not think nobody tilts anymore, they think nobody tilts anymore. Kovalsky back on top. What a play.
Just
what a play.
Good timing with the type of hand where if you end up getting called by the original opener, you definitely can flop a lot of possibilities. So I like the spot that Kovalsky chose.
I don't know how. I don't know how people are good enough to fold pocket jacks there. Maria, do you see what I see? It's time to take it to the streets. Street flash poker.
Do you like my street
The
flash
8 of clubs.
dance?
Yeah, it's good. All shoulders. That's usually what I do.
But also
I'm all shoulders and
monotone
stomping.
board.
Oh,
Why
right,
are
sorry.
you speaking with so much enthusiasm?
Forgot with the street flash how monotone we were. Ooh, blinds time. 150,000, 300,000. Lex with the pocket kings.
fun to wake up with pocket kings, not fun when nobody has anything.
I guess it beats losing. Ivar's turn with the big slick energy.
That's exactly what somebody who runs bad in a certain home game would say. Well, I guess I'll just take the blinds with pocket kings when I have a short stack.
There's no winning for me. If I was like, oh, well, I'm so unlucky. Every time I have kings, nobody calls me. Or just be like, great, I'm happy to win the blinds and antes. Which is it? I mean, come on, pick a lane. Perry Mason with a domination rotation. 1 diamond for I Am Ivar. 6 clubs on the turn. Improves neither player. It's going to make that 9 look a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, still a bit of a dicey board to really bet for value, though. You just imagine that most of the time you're not really going to get called by worse and want to keep the pot somewhat controlled with a hand that has showdown value, but isn't quite strong enough to get called by worse.
I'm probably still feeling pretty good about that 9.
Yeah, nice
And that's
brick
$1 million.
on the river.
I Am Ivar taking some time here.
Sure, you're going to beat a lot of the 10Xs and a lot of the 1 club type hands that might have continued and is obviously a bluff at this juncture, but I get the consideration. I'm not sure how often it would be correct to call.
Or they were
certainly.
considering doing more than calling.
I just don't think they have the relevant blockers and the right type of hand to go for a bluff in this spot. If it did, it would just be more of a feel play, I think, than necessarily a GTO strategy.
I would say
play.
that it's not a super believable line. The blocker is obviously, but okay.
I'd much rather have, Queen X with the club here, 10X with the club here, if you want to try to represent something. But yeah, made the call with Ace King. I get it. There's quite a few bluffs. Yeah. But yes, in that particular spot, just a nice value bet there by Perry on the end.
Didn't have the right blockers, apparently.
Actually, Ivar had the right hands that unblocks a lot of these busted draws. So in that sense, it made it better. But if they were trying to be the bluffer themselves, they did not have the right blockers.
I mean, just when the ridiculousness of blockers couldn't get any more ridiculous, now we've got unblocking. Unblocking. I unblocked all of the bluffs.
I feel like
no
you
clubs.
and Mike Mattisau will finally agree on something.
You better choose your next words wisely.
System here.
You better choose your next words wisely.
Because if I know something about Mike, it's that he does not believe blockers exist in Hold'em specifically. He's made it very clear that in PLO he thinks it could be a thing, but Hold'em specifically, not so much.
Action folds around the Kovalsky, who shoves out Ivar. Ivar folds. Kovalsky. 2-4. Deuce 4. 24. Jack Bauer folds. Okay, cool. King 6 for Ivar in the small.
It's been a while since I heard the Jack Bauer reference.
Who are you
Bring that
working
back,
for? I'm sure they'll be bringing it back.
Really?
I mean, I'm not saying they are, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like everything comes back. Hey, a little OOL Zixel attacking this limp from Ivar.
Yeah, and you'll see that quite a bit nowadays, especially when you expect your opponent to be limping in with a lot of their weak hands, of course. You will try to attack from the big blind with the bottom of your range.
Rockets for Mason, a.k.a. Jerry Odell. But it's an O with dots over it, not an apostrophe, so he's not Irish. And yummy. Kukra raises 1.5 million. Perry flats, which is going to look a little suspect. Not sure Perry's going to, especially given the hands that are out there. Yeah, didn't get the pre-flop action they were looking for. Kukra has whiffed. Man, what kinds of hands flat other than aces, Maria?
Yeah, especially when you expect the opener to be really strong opening off of that stack size from under the gun. It just feels so strong.
Mason puts Kukra all in. And Mason once again retakes the tournament chip lead up over 15.5 million. Kovalsky's at 14. Kukra has got like 4 bigs left. That's just really unlucky, right, for Kukra? I mean, any way you look at poker, it's getting unlucky, but to run smack dab into aces in a spot where maybe you can get some credit raising out of a short stack under the gun. It just happens to... He wasn't unblocking aces enough, I guess.
And, you know, because we get to see all this action with the cards up, it's fairly obvious that Kukra has not really done anything wrong today, has not made some plays that are questionable.
Hasn't done anything,
or things
full
that
stop.
were not standard. Right,
Yeah.
and that's just the way it goes sometimes, unfortunately.
Mason showing on Lex, who knows Lex can call with a very narrow range of hands with Kukra's current predicament. Zixel
Yeah, and I think,
with the sixels.
yeah, and Kukra no doubt going to put the last of the chips in. Just such a pretty hand with a nub.
Looking per nub. Almost all of the chips.
Yeah, it's still able
limp by
to
Zixel.
fold if there's all of this potential collision behind him. Allows him to potentially...
If there's aces and kings and 3 other people get all in, that's right. Kukra can still fold. Zixel getting a pretty bad price here. Later. Kukra calls, does have live cards. It's a 10-high flop. Lots of outs now. Does not connect with the river. There goes Kukra out in 7th. The fat cat has fallen. $32,664. And that is more chips for Perry, Jerry, Mason, Odell. Everyone else ladders up to $44,000. And it's Lex and I am Ivar who are in the danger zone at this point, both approaching the 10 big blind mark. And the second Perry starts to open things up a little bit, raising some middle suited connectors, runs into the sevens of Kovalsky. Ivar is getting an okay price in this situation, does make the call. Jack, Jack, 8, sevens winning, but the statistical slight underdog.
Ooh.
Oh boy, that is gin on the turn for Kovalsky. And gives Ivar some outs to a straight. Interesting turn card. Yes, John Delano. Yes, interesting turn card. Snap fold.
Perry definitely aware that the small blind calling range against an open pre contains quite a few Jack X type hands, all of the suited broadways, of course, and 10-9 as well. So pretty sure that Perry
understand
had a good
that.
feeling that he wasn't live.
Yeah. Would anyone ever check that full house that's very unlikely to get beaten by the river instead of betting there?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that for Kovalsky, maybe they were just trying to balance the fact that they know they've been very active and that it seems like a steal spot for them and hoping to get called pretty light there. But sometimes checking, of course, would be in order.
I think I might have called Jerry O'Dean Jerry Odell previously. Apologies. My fault. Pair of kings good here for Zixel.
Zixel
checks.
turning
Yeah,
their
hoping
hand
to
into a bluff catcher. Yeah.
Doesn't bite, though. Kovalsky does not bite. Unlike that dog, which I bet does. Look at it. You know that's a really bratty dog.
Why? Because it could fit into someone's purse? Is that why you think so? You think those dogs are bratty?
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Because it looks so well groomed that it has to be a brat.
Kovalsky's going to be so mad at me after this broadcast, too. He's going to be like, you said I was tilting with 7-9 of hearts. Then you said my dog looked bratty. I'm like really digging a hole here.
Everybody knows, Joe, you don't talk about somebody's mom or someone's dog.
Your mom is a phase tournament. Lex raising with, as they're known in one of my home games, the ladies.
It actually made me feel worse to make that joke about your mom after I saw that video you sent me of your mom and how delighted she was at the spoils from Kim and Vinny's garden. I'm like, what a wholesome, sweet lady. I'm so sorry.
She is a very wholesome, sweet lady. Top set for Lex here, everybody. Top set for Lex. Once again, seems like he ain't gonna get paid. But maybe, just maybe, Temujin loses his mind. And Lex gets a couple of chips. Yeah, Kyle, I didn't think you were going to get that one through. GG, GL. You banned. I wasn't even going to do it. I was like, this isn't going to make it. Lex was over 5 million for about 2.5 seconds.
You know, we have a comment made in the YouTube chat saying this is so behind compared to Lex's stream. Well, that would be because we have whole cards up, guys. So if you're wondering why.
Perry trying to muscle Lex, who is not having it. Ship it to Lex Veldhuis. Picks
Ship
up
it,
nearly
holla
$1 million
balla.
with that pot. That's right. Oh, the ship it holla ballas. That's a throwback. That reminds me of the icy hot stuntas.
What?
Do you remember
I've
that
never
wasn't a
heard
poker
that.
thing. That was just a regular thing. The icy hot stuntas were these kids that used to like pose on their cars wearing like a bunch of blinged out jewelry on MySpace.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you just said MySpace, I would have known that that's a throwback.
The ship at Hollaballas. Amazing. Man, it's just crazy that like the generation where we started playing poker had all of the bravado and none of the skill. And now there's like so much skill and so little bravado.
Some would argue that all the bravado and none of the skill made for quite entertaining poker in general, not just from the personalities,
Yeah.
but also when we watch those reruns, we're like, wow, what in the world were they thinking?
This zero equity 8-bet bluff.
Right? Like the click it back pre-flop wars. Those were fun. Those were the days.
Lex once again getting aggressive with the best of it. Couple of good pickups
Yeah,
here
just-
for Lex.
It would just appear that Lex is very in tune to the table dynamics, the game flow, which is really important because a lot of the times, yes, your hand is going to dictate how you play off of a shorter stack, but also understanding the dynamics at play here is really important to find those spots to pick up chips where other players might not be as clued into what is going on.
Action folds around to Perry Mason and Lex in the blinds again. And Lex is going to pick that one up. Nice. All right, so Bot Charge asks, what is bravado? Boomer words I don't understand. Hey, who's that boomer, that singer that all the boomers like sings the song You Raise Me Up? You Are Loved. Big hit with the boomers who apparently use the word bravado.
Yeah, it starts with like a B for sure, right? The name starts with a B.
No. Starts with Josh.
No?
Oh, there it is. Dirty Deeds.
Groban.
Josh Groban, you banned. Thank you for your comment, though. Or question, whichever one it was.
I got there. I did need the hint though. Was You Raise Me Up actually his song or was it a cover? I always for some reason thought it was a cover. It's his song?
You can't cover a song that's written by Jesus. I mean, you can. What I'm saying is Jesus doesn't need the royalties. I Am Ivar, all in with Queens. spot here for Temujin. Opportunity to knock out a short stack. Sevens. From under the gun shove. And
Nice
that gets
fold.
through.
Yeah, if you were closing the action there with sevens, it would be a little bit different. But seeing all the players behind you, just don't love that spot quite as much.
Kovalsky raising the big blind of Ivar. Still the shortest stack. That's going to be the last hand of the session. Time for these players to take a break. But it's WCOOP. There are no breaks. 6 players remain in that event, but we're going to check out some side action here. Another medium event. This happened a short time ago in the $215 PKO 6 max. And you may recognize, I don't know, Finton Hand, Markovitsis, Old Naza. We have got some big names at this table.
Old NASA is one of my favorite things you've done on stream. Like
Old Naza.
Favorite.
Markovitsis and Easy with Aces battling here. Markovitsis, by the way, Marku Kaplima. One of my favorite poker players whose names remind me of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That, and there's another guy with the name Chilled Monkey Brains. So Finton's 9's good at Showdown. Blind's going up in this event. 35 players remain. 50K to the winner plus bounties. Folds around the fin with the 10-8 of clubs. The Toby Lewis hand. Raise and take it. Old Naza with the king queen. Old Naza and I struck up a bit of a friendship after the last tournament series we covered. He DM'd me on Twitter, or was it Instagram? I can't remember. Nice fellow, though. Gamad Gadol in big trouble here.
Now everybody knows your DMs are open, Stapes. That's what you needed to get that out there if you wanted people to slide in, you know?
Was that ever in question? Do you think I would miss any opportunity for notifications to go off on my phone? No. The answer is no.
Big hands
Marka
here.
Vitsis with pocket 9s. Gamad Gadol, a.k.a. Wonder Woman. All in with jacks. Naza with ace king. This is a PKO, so yeah, I don't really see if some. Oh, 325 is not a huge bounty. Doesn't have Markovitsis covered. Does re-raise. Is Markovitsis going to put Naza in for the rest? Naza does have a big bounty.
Yeah, as we know and have seen before, these PKOs can really influence the action. These are all very reasonable hands,
baby.
of course.
We weren't kidding. This is a highlight from event 38. 2 players at risk. 9's holding.
Ooh.
King on the turn.
Ooh.
But it's a set of 9s on the river. Wow. There goes Gamad and Old Naza. Both eliminated. Gadol out in 35th for 1,500.
A cool 19 million chips for Mark.
Out in 34th. And Markovitsis now up to a $1,600 bounty. The biggest at the table.
pretty sick.
These two with some opportunities should we get to showdown.
I refuse. I refuse to do it, Stapes. I'm over.
It's
I'm over
not a
you.
chop. Don't worry. Break time's over. Hardigan, get off that golf cart and get back in the booth.
Thank you, Joe. Just as Maria said she'd had enough of you, perfect timing, and we're returning to the final table of event 34, the medium buy-in, the 2K8 max. I am Ivor in the danger zone. Jerry O'Dean is the chip leader right now, ahead of Fabiano Kovalsky, who was the start of day chip leader. Lex Veldhuis still in the hunt, and the blinds at 150,000, 300,000. Maria, I think once again worth us reiterating that obviously Lex is streaming himself, playing this final table. He is streaming on a 5 to 6 minute delay. We're on a 30-minute delay. There is the possibility that people watching Lex's stream will be coming here to see certain hands, to check out certain hole cards. Please keep it to yourself. Please do not bombard our chat with spoilers. You will receive the ban hammer if you do that. And I guess the question here is, yeah, whether I Am Ivor would make a stand with ace-5, but doesn't.
And good thing too, because
yeah,
now you pick up a great hand on the button of all places.
And this will be around a 10 big blind shove from the button with queens. Ace-9 suited. That kind of feels really, really borderline to me. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Decides just to min raise. So now gives 3D the opportunity to actually make the move with the ace-9 rather than be put to the decision with ace-9.
Yeah, and this might work out a lot better than open shoving.
Well, let's see what the board is. Okay, working so far.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Too many strawberries.
Yikes.
And that will see I Am Ivor eliminated in 6th place, cashing for nearly $45,000. We're down to the final 5. Everyone now guaranteed 61K, including Lexington Veldhuis, who is the second shortest stack with 7.7 million. It is Zeixel, who is the low man now at the table with 7.47 million.
James, I'm just glad that Stapes wasn't here to see that, because then he would just go on and on about how if you just open shove the queens, then that wouldn't have happened. And then you had to go in and deuce. And this is why you can't play it like that. And how bad he runs in the home game. And I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, the problem is when people argue based on results, it is hard to push back on that, because ultimately it is the final result that determines who wins and who loses. But I hear what you're saying, Maria. And again, we've had this conversation already. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. You enable him. You allow him to text you. You allow him to speak to you. You just cut him off. Cut him off.
Yeah. I don't have the heart to block
nice.
Stapes, though, from text messages
That's
quite
the thing.
yet, though.
It's in your nature to be empathetic, sympathetic, and a good friend. Fortunately, I'm devoid of all of those qualities. So Zeixel opening with King Queen, and it's the Grafton 10-9 suited and a flat from 3D Temujin.
Yeah, looks like such a appealing spot from the small blind with ace-10. Yeah, it does go for it.
I smell dead money, says the chip leader, and not an insignificant part, and gets Jerry O'Dean stack up to nearly 20 million. Fabiano Kovalsky and 3D Temujin pretty much tied for second place right now. And Zeixel back in action with ace-queen. I had one of those awful situations during the last session, Maria, where you know you're half listening to the conversation, you're like half watching the action at the table, and I just heard you talking about avatars, for some reason thought you were talking about Lex, and then the next thing I know, it looks like a biter, and I'm thinking, really? We're saying that Lex's baby looks like a biter? And then after a couple of moments, I realized, we're talking about Fabiano Kovalsky's dog, which is just as bad as far as I'm concerned. That dog has been on this stream. That dog has been a guest on this stream. And I don't like Joe insulting it in that way. Yeah. When Kovalsky won a WCOOP trophy last year, came on as a guest and proved that the reason why he has the dog Vita is that is his pet.
I mean, no doubt the dog is on Kovalsky's lap right now.
Not going to lie, when I come back to this table and see the fat cat missing, it does make me a little bit sad. Do love me a fat cat. So Zykes will put some distance between himself and Lex, who is now the shortest stack. Blinds going up in 3 minutes' time to 175,000, 350,000. That's going to put Lex around the 20 big blind mark. Bot Charge asks, is Joe gone? Gone but not forgotten, and not gone for good. You know how it is, guys. We swap in and out. Joe can't get through a 4 to 5 hour final table without taking multiple breaks. During WCOOP, we have all the concession stands open in the PokerStars arena, and Mr. Stapleton, he loves himself a wiener.
Not to mention, it will not be a coincidence if we start seeing some coolers happen, because now he's got a free hand. He's got a clear lane to go ahead and crank that machine.
Absolutely. So a blind v blind, ace deuce versus jack 3. Oh. 3D decides to more than 3x.
Yeah, pressurizing those limps, especially when they're in a spot where they have them covered, makes it a little bit easier to apply pressure.
To a certain degree, Maria, we should be getting behind Zykesel because we love these Cinderella stories. This is a player who qualified for this 2K buy-in event via a $109 satellite. Their best ever cash is from 9 years ago. Normally play tournaments with an average buy-in of $200. So Zykesel is someone who I can get behind. In addition to heroes like Lex and Kovalsky and Jerry.
Yeah, you definitely love to see it when this is the dream, right? For a lot of these people who satellite into the bigger buy-ins, especially during a big series like WCOOP.
And interesting spot for a re-raise. Gets rid of one King Jack. Will they get rid of the Ace-10 suited of Fabiano Kovalsky?
Yeah, it certainly looks strong to target a big stack opening from under the gun, but Ace-10 suited, just a really pretty looking hand. Not sure how they plan to react. Zykesel hasn't really shown that they've gotten out of line too much, of course, so there is some credibility there. Okay, over it.
Not going to get rid of the Ace-10. And we are now at the new blind level. And we've got Jerry O'Dean on the button with Ace-King. Ace-Deuce suited in clubs for Lexington Veldhuis in the small blind. The raise is to 791,000. Oh, Lex with the committing raise.
Yeah, tough.
Oh,
spot
Lex
here.
all in. Domination Nation. Diamonds also working against him, drawing dead on the turn. The flush for Perry Mason. And Lex out in 5th place. Cashing for 61K. Would have hoped to get one of those 6-figure scores, which would have been the single biggest win of his career. But nonetheless, congratulations to Lex for making this FT, laddering up to 5th place and cashing out for a decent profit on his 12K investment in this 2K 8 max event. We are down to 4 players now. And look at the chip lead Jerry O'Dean has, Maria.
Yeah, really incredible. They just were patient, slow start, but now really ramping it up here in a really, really good spot. Of course, some tough competition to face, but it's always nice when you almost have 2 times the amount of chips as the nearest competitor.
Kovalsky with 3s, which are still the best hand on this ace-ace-5 board. And Kovalsky putting some distance between himself and 3D. 2nd place on the leaderboard. Just 4 players remaining now competing for that trophy and first prize of more than $214,000.
Looks like the 6s decide to fold, but definitely wouldn't have blamed them if they wanted to play. But again, looking over at Zyxel on the short stack, not really sure if they're going to be very light there. Also, you have the chip leader to act behind you as well.
So Perry Mason, Jerry O'Dean defending the big blind, just the 1 club on board. Zyxel continuing. And is Jerry going to do something funky here? Yeah, check raises to nearly 1.2 million, putting Sykes in such a horrible spot there, Maria.
Right. And when you have all those chips at your disposal, I mean, what good would they be just sitting in your stack, not doing any work? Also, the fact that you could have turned quite a few backdoors and increased your equity significantly didn't hurt for Perry, just having that type of hand.
Your band asks, has Lex never had a 6-figure score before? As far as online MTTs are concerned, I believe that Lex has had a couple of wins that are very close to that. He had a 2nd place finish in a WCOOP in 2019 for 91K. He won a Stadium Series event for 96K. And he was 4th in a Blowout Series High Roller for 97K. And I think that is his best online result to date. The start of this year, that 4th place finish in a Blowout High Roller, $97,257. So had he made it 3rd or better, that would have eclipsed that result. But still, GG, LV.
Yeah, it's always nice to be able to break a milestone on stream, but still a really, really good finish for Lex today.
The unsuited ace-5, the Aldi sourdough for Kovalsky, who raises to 700,000. Queen Jack suited in the small blind for Temujin. Oh, hello. Okay. Next. And one thing I've noticed, Maria, and obviously that hand that he played against Jerry O'Dean was a major factor, but Zeixel now playing fewer than 10 big blinds. And those blinds coming around really quickly. Simple math tells you you're in the blinds 50% of the time.
We didn't even need the human calculator for that, James.
Yeah, I mean, if we're dealing with single figures, I can just about handle it. Any more than that, and I would have to defer. Ace Queen again for Fabiano Kovalsky.
Yeah, certainly getting their fair share of good hands. And we talked about this a little earlier. Obviously, there's the dynamic that it's expected that Kovalsky is going to show up with a whole slew of wide ranges, but certainly isn't going to get credit for some of these really, really top tier hands they've been getting today.
So top for Kovalsky, the gut shot for 3D Temujin. And a bet of just over 1.2 million. King 9, folds. So we've got two pair here for Kovalsky, kings and fives. 595,000 is the bet. Ace high for Perry Mason. Oh. Timing might be a little bit off here.
Yeah, timing is an issue, but can see why Perry would think that Kovalsky would be c-betting this type of flop a really high percentage of the time and therefore tries to attack that high frequency. But can they follow it up with another barrel here after getting called and the flush coming in?
Yeah, I mean, is this one of the situations where it's like, okay, could have been check raising with a flush draw, third hearts hit, now have to represent a made hand, half pot, have some of that.
Yeah, and of course, this turn card, one of the worst that you wouldn't want to see as Kovalsky, but you still do have two pair. It feels like such a good hand.
Yeah. Makes the call. Oh, wow, this board now straighty and flushy. And
yeah,
Jerry O'Dean has shown such strength. Check raises flop, barrels turn. Is he now going to try and bluff the river? And with kings and fives, will Kovalsky call if there is a bet?
Yeah, this one's just all about the follow through. Right, yeah. But do you have the follow through for the triple? Do you have the heart? No, shuts it down.
No, no. And Kovalsky throws some money, checks it back and retakes the chip lead. That bluff from Jerry O'Dean has cost him the #1 position. Fabiano Kovalsky, who came into this 9-handed FT as the big stack, is once again in the #1 position. And now 3D Temujin opening on the button with King 6 of spades. I said it earlier on, Maria, not only did we see Fabiano Kovalsky in action in the super high roll-up last night, a 5th place finish, so we'll go at least one better today. But here is someone who has 3 WCOOP titles, a win in 2018, a win in 2019, a win in 2020. Logic dictates.
Consistency is key, James. Sounds like they're on the right track.
Well, it's an open-ended straight draw versus a pair and a gut shot for Zeixel, who is near enough a 3-1 favourite in this spot. Oh,
We've got to point out, yeah, for how rough the final table
Zeixel.
started. What?
Yeah, it started
started
rough,
out
and
rough for
again, the
Zeixel.
pressure is on.
Yeah, but they have laddered up very nicely.
That's true. That's true. Also, you know, second pair could improve to a straight. Gamble! And he's good. Zeixel gets the double up. And now Kovalsky and Jerry O'Dean are pretty much tied for the chip lead, 20 million apiece. Zeixel still the short stack, but not as short, 5.8 million now. And again, the pair for Zeixel and the straight draw for their opponent. I think Zeixel was going to go 2 in a row here, Maria. Maybe not a double up this time, but I think Zeixel wins another pot.
Yeah, it feels that way, especially when you go for such a big bet and you do have the king in your hand. It's just a nice backup plan, but also, of course, you're blocking king-queen, which helps, makes you feel better about the strength of your hand being in a blind versus blind situation as well. Lots of good things happening for Zeixel, I think, in this spot.
Zeixel now on the button with king-queen. $700,000, and Jerry O'Dean with ace-10 in the big blind. Shoves on Zeixel, all into call, king-queen offsuit.
Yeah, I mean, you have the least to lose being the short stack, and sometimes you will be ahead of the small, medium pairs that would play similarly. Not ahead, I'm sorry, but you would be flipping. But it's an optimistic stance with a hand like king-queen.
Giving it some thought. Using a decent chunk of time bank. Much easier decision if the hand is suited.
Yeah, I think that this is pretty close. Suited would feel like a call. And you're going to expect your opponent, of course, to show up with these type of hands as well. The ace 10, the ace jack, where you're live, but you're a slight dog.
Calls all in. And here we go, 10 on the flop. King or a queen needed, and Zyxel does not hit on the river, eliminated by Jerry O'Dean. Worth reminding ourselves, Zyxel satellited in for $109 and cashes out for $83,673. More cash being thrown in the direction of the chip leader. Jerry O'Dean with 26 mil right now as we go three-handed. And another pot for the chip leader. Oh, interesting. You guys want to see numbers? Asks O'Dean. Sure, says 3D. If Kovalsky is in agreement as well, they will look at potentially breaking down the remaining prize money differently to how it is advertised on your screen. Deal chat could be imminent, but yeah.
Not a lot of ego coming out of the chip leader, right? Kind of recognizing that the pay jumps are very significant. You're up against pretty stiff competition, giving them a nod as well, saying, I respect you guys enough to start the conversation as the chip leader.
Pair of threes here for Jerry O'Dean. But of course, all three players have to agree. They'll have to tick that little box that we can't see right now. And if they do, it will pause the tournament and they will go behind the scenes to discuss how they want to break down the remaining prize money. The stipulation being that any deal they do must leave 10K and the trophy still in play. And a reminder that it is a private conversation that we are not party to, and nor do we see what sums they've agreed to until players are eliminated and their respective payouts are published in the lobby. There we go. They are going to discuss a deal after this next hand. So all three have ticked the box. And here we go. I wonder whether this is going to be a deal or no deal situation. We can see the stacks, Maria. Jerry O'Dean, Perry Mason with the chip lead, 32 million. Fabiano Kovalsky, 17 million. 12 million for 3D Temujin. How much is Jerry going to be willing to give up to increase the payouts of the... Oh, wow, that was fast.
Wow.
Deal completed. Deal agreed.
All right.
These guys have come to an agreement pretty quickly. And a reminder, we don't know the terms of the deal. We don't know what sums they've locked up. What we do know is they are still playing for an additional 10K that will go to the winner and the WCOOP trophy. As Jerry points out, playing for 10K. Yes, you are playing for the glory. Thank you, Fabiano. Not just the glory, it's a WCOOP title and trophy.
Yeah, have you guys seen that trophy? It's baller. I love that trophy. But good news for the viewers is that this will definitely open up their game a bit more and people will be playing closer to chips and not so much of that handcuffed ICM play that sometimes bores some people.
Yeah, you say that, Maria, and that's in theory how it should work. But it is so bizarre to me that when you see hundreds of thousands of dollars secured, and look, 10K is still a significant sum of money, but it pales in comparison to the money they've already locked up. And to see them eking it out, because that win means something. That victory, that legacy, if you like, player of the series points, the trophy, which is a physical asset that you're going to have in your home forever.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I know that if I were sitting here and I were three-handed and the deal was completed, I would still be playing my absolute heart out just to have that title on my resume. I think for all of these players, they're quite accomplished, of course, but that's just another notch on their belt.
I think it's very easy to be that kind of, take that attitude that poker is just about money and people are only playing MTTs for money. No, they're not. People are also playing for the glory. They're playing for the titles. They're playing for the wins. Mostly the money, but the other stuff matters as well. By the way, just a quick update from that $215 PKO that we dropped in on during the break. That was the event that Finton was going deep in. Finton has just crashed out in 31st place, cashing for $3,320. Meanwhile, Cover Your Heart, Koplima, now has a really big chip lead in that one.
And not to mention, on top of all those things that you mentioned, James, about why they're going to, you know, really eke it out and play their hearts out. This is a 3-day tournament, okay? So they have played for 2 days straight to get to this point, and there's no reason just because they're guaranteed a 6-figure payday that they're going to, quote unquote, give up on this spot. They've put a lot of emotional heart and effort and energy, and they're very invested in this outcome. And we all know that for poker players, anything other than a win feels disappointing in a way.
Yeah. And we established a short while ago that Fabiano Kovalsky already has 3 WCOOP titles. 3D Temujin from Kazakhstan, a player with nearly 2 million in online earnings, also has a WCOOP win from 2016. However, our current chip leader, Jerry Odin, despite having 2 scoop wins, does not yet have a WCOOP title. So could be a first-time winner tonight.
Expecting nines to shove here. Just because of the effective stack size, nines is certainly good enough to go with.
And they are playing at a fast pace, which is always nice to see. Kevin says no bounty, so are they playing for fun now? Well, as we were just discussing, they're playing for 10K. There is always a set aside in a championship event. There are the ranking points for the player of the series competitions, which shouldn't be sneezed at, by the way. Then the high, when the medium, sorry, this will count towards, there's a cash prize and a trophy. And in the overall player of the series contest, that top prize is $25,000 plus the trophy. And yet there's the trophy for winning this as well. So not just pride, not just fun.
Kovalsky flopping their fair share of double gutters today.
Ooh. Well, you've seen it. I've seen it. This is a street flash board.
I went for the shoulder shimmy. You went for like the chin bob.
Yeah, I'm not a natural mover. Come on. with this street flash draw. You can't be folding. Ah, river's a pair.
Yeah, pretty disappointing brick for Kovalsky. Certainly not going to be beating a lot of the value hands, only beating bluffs pretty much that would fire twice.
Well, this is going to leave Fabiano Kovalsky on the short side.
Wow.
All into call. Do not expect the call here, but that will mean Kovalsky 1 is playing 8 million, and in 4 minutes' time, that will equate to a 20 big blind stack, because that's how long we've got till the next level kicks in. 3D Temujin with the Grafton, 10-9 suited, raise and take it. And again, that's another observation we should make, Maria, is that the gap between Temujin and Perry Mason is incredibly narrow right now. Oh, your shoulder shimmy has been clipped, Maria, just to warn you.
They are real fast with these clips.
Well, there is the possibility, although low cards like that aren't going to make it happen. I was going to say there is the possibility of a chop here.
Well, James, good news is can't go worse than it did earlier when you weren't on the stream. So
I mean, I'm glad
ready.
that Joe took responsibility, because it was 100% on him.
Thank
This is a chop pot. And Maria, you know what they say. Everyone loves a chop pot.
I'm feeling
Okay.
that one. Like I usually.
I don't think it was great, but not being funny considering the bar was so low, courtesy of Mr. Stapleton. I think the scores will be reasonable. I'll take 5s and 6s. Those are fine. 7, that's very generous. Thank you.
5 out of 7, even better.
Weird scoring system, but it's all good. 7.2 out of 10. What is this, IMDb? Sysomic wants to see more confidence from Mario. I'll pass on the message to him.
Yeah, my twin brother is terrible with the chop pot song, admittedly.
I love the idea of there being twins, Mario and Maria. Wow, Kovalsky's stack getting shorter, down to 6.8 now. Oh, Chris Poker lets us know that he has a twin sister. That is a hashtag fun fact. Well, I'll tell you what, Maria, if we get a jack on the river, you get another shot. Nope.
Relief just washed over me, James. I'm not gonna lie.
Ultimately, anyone who gives it a go, anyone who plays along, gets points from me. There are certain people, not going to mention any names, but let's just say there was a commentator with a really bad moustache who lived in Brazil, who kind of like look down their noses at it, just want nothing to do with it, will reluctantly go along if they're forced to because, you know, they're contracted to the brands to feel that they have to kind of go that extra mile.
I was never too cool for school, James. That was never my MO, so you don't have to worry about that from me.
Pair of fives versus a pair of aces.
Big sizing here just because of the wet board. And most times I think for a smaller sizing, we would see Kovalsky take one off, hope to make 2 pair of trips there, but just a little too many chips to continue.
Jack 8 versus Ace Jack. Blind v blind. Oh, I've just been advised that we're going to have a direct commentator to play at ratio as we welcome Sam Grafton to the stream. Sam, I was just talking about, I was just bigging you up, just talking about what an amazing guy you are and how such an integral part of the team you are. Absolutely,
how amazing.
absolutely. Said lovely things about your moustache.
What a great singing voice you have.
You know, the true story about my singing voice. Perry Mason turning the up and down here. I was in the National Youth Theatre, which is like you know, where they get people all around the country. You audition, you get in, and at the end you do a big production. And obviously Kovalsky not going anywhere before I reminisce about my teenage years. Let's just see how this plays out. Obviously Kovalsky's gonna take one off here. And kind of an annoying card for Jerry on this river. Like Kovalsky gonna have a bit of 9-10, 9-king, 9x of spades, obviously always plays this way, and yeah, he's going to give up. So at the end, you do this big show, and
right.
Al's had a couple of musical numbers in it. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end,
Yes.
so you have these big and like two days before the big show, in front of everyone else, the director, our course director, he just came up to me and he was like, just took me aside and he was like, Sam, yeah, you've got a great pair of lungs. We can hear you really well. So you've got a mime. Like you can't sing. And so my big end of summer presentation, like in the chorus, by the way, not solos or anything like that. Like every single person singing, and I have to just mouth along. Rather unfortunate. And that was the end of my singing career forever. That was poker's gain was opera and musical theatre's loss.
Your volume control issues go back decades.
Sure, yeah. It's quite a
Hasn't found the switch after all these years. Again, here we are, Sam, second night in a row with a strong lineup on the final table of a big buy-in event. Fabiano Kovalsky at it again, but kind of edging into the danger zone right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of going a little bit against the grain here, isolating with the Jack 3 off, trying to take it down. Obviously, what a performance over this week from Kovalsky, wherever he finishes today. Really, really amazing. Imagine the intensity of the poker over the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, this giant 2.5K with so many runners, the 25K final, the elite field, playing for this huge money, like the concentration required, all the pitfalls and traps and this is going to be interesting here when Kovalsky gets 3-bet. It's quite a strong hand, King Jack on the button. Some people might even have elected to shove. I think that when we raise here, might be that he has to raise fold with no fold equity. Just going to be dominated some as he is in this instance. Obviously, again, like Kovalsky here, he swerved a bullet. You might have been tempted to shove. play it somehow differently. Oh, he's decided to put it in. Spoke too soon.
In a dominated spot and does not improve, and we lose Fabiano Kovalsky, our third place finisher, going heads up in this 2K. Meanwhile, by virtue of the deal they agreed, three-handed, Fabiano cashing for $155,154.87. Pretty even stacks between 3D Temujin and Jerry O'Dean in this heads-up battle, playing for 10K and the World Championship of Online Poker trophy. We don't yet know what sums these two locked up in the deal.
Yeah, a bit of the commentator's curse there. And to be honest, I didn't realize that they'd already confirmed the deal. Obviously, a lot more easy to call it off there, king jack off, when you're playing essentially a winner-takes-all scenario for the remaining $10,000.
Yeah.
If that's indeed what they set aside. Makes a lot more sense then.
It is.
I thought that we were dealing with steep pay jumps, a little bit of an error on my part. So apologies to viewers who probably were aware of that.
Wherever possible, we try and help you guys. It says deal completed on the table. It says deal agreed on the graphic. The payouts for 1, 2, 3 are TBC, but that's all right, Sam, because we were giving you SHIT about your singing.
I was just excited to see Maria home. That was it. I get a bit flustered.
I know you were.
That's why I'm sweating so heavily. She has that effect on me. There's nothing I can do about it.
I'll tell you what, Sam. Above the Rain is delighted to see you. They write, "Sup, Samuel? How are you doing, boss? Good to see you joining the commentary."
Loving that lingo. It's one of the great things about being a poker player is throwing around the word boss a lot. It's just, how you doing, boss? It's just a great, one of the great underappreciated advantages of this career path. Normally, it's only the guy in the chippy, like the guy at the kebab house, that you get to call boss, like them, and maybe an actual boss some of the time, you know, or if you're in prison, unfortunately. Whereas, you know, we just get to say it to everyone. It's absolutely
Or
great.
when you're in prison.
Yeah, I think they have to call the guard boss, I think. It's a little bit of knowledge.
Well, anyone who's listened to Sam's interview with Olivier Bousquet will know that Mr. Grafton did come very close to being in prison. Oh, Barry Greenstein.
Here it is. And Perry, obviously 8 high, might want to follow through. It's a little bit of a weird one because you're now going to be very, very polarized on this river. Obviously, you don't bet the 7 and 5 now. But I think he will go for it with the big sizing and folds out 3DT, who had him pipped. What are we calling 3DT? Because I know you guys, you always come up with a little shorthand.
No, I mean, either 3D or 3D Temujin, to use their full name.
3D Temujin. Temujin. Okay.
3D. I think 3D is a good abbreviation. Has the movie connotation, which I like.
Always.
I'll tell you
Sam,
what was on
what are
TV
your
the other night.
plans for...
Go on, Maria.
This was
You
not a
take precedence,
you
commentary
don't
rank.
edition
You
whatsoever.
do not want to hear me rant about Jaws 3D on ITV4. So, Maria, please take it away.
I just wanted to know Sam's plans for his stash. Like, is there going to be, are you going to grow this out fully into like a beard combo? What's the deal? Because this is a new look. I like it.
It does look good when I have like a beard, but the stash is more full. It's randomly quite a good look. I think this is Rio Sam. This is on the beach wearing tight shorts, Sam Grafton. You know what I mean? This is slightly sunburnt Sam Grafton. When I move, you know, when I'm somewhere else, when I'm in Vegas or when I'm back home in England or wherever I end up next, maybe we'll go in a different direction. It's Rio Sam, basically. So, you know,
It's Carnival, Sam. You're going to be attending, surely.
exactly.
I don't know whether this comment is intended as a compliment or an insult, but Shum Cooley says, Sam almost reminds me of Roland DeWolf. Take it however you want.
Wow. Legend of the game. Legend of the gutty. Incredible. Dropped off the poker scene. In some amazing private game playing against hedge fund managers and gambling disgusting amounts on sports. That'd be my guess. Although I never know. I feel like it's like when they take your dog away as a kid. They take him away and like they tell you he's gone to a farm. When poker players disappear, I always hope that they've gone on to a really great home game. Like that's how I imagine them. You know, no one goes broke. I just imagine that they're in a really advantageous spot, making loads of money. That's my hope. You must have seen a few come and go, Maria, from the commerce. A few regs disappeared over the years, and you think, well, I hope they're in a good home game somewhere.
Yeah. Yes.
But your analogy is slightly
Surprisingly, some of
awkward.
them
They're not
come
taking them
back.
out the back and shooting them.
No, of course.
least I
Sorry, I
hope they're
wasn't implying that. I just mean, you know, I hope that they haven't run out of money. That they're. By the way, I'm sure Roland the Wolf hasn't. He's pretty incredible guy, I'm sure. But it's fun on a night out.
Should point out that 3D has extended that chip lead now, has a 10 million chip advantage over Jerry Odin. We talked about Fabiano Kovalsky, Sam. Wow. We have got a flopped flush with a redraw to Street Flash.
Annoying for us that Jerry. Why did Jerry even bet it? Like, let's just check it down and hope the Jack of Hearts comes. That's how you play that hand. This is a little bit of a overhand situation, depending on the flop. This action will be cooled somewhat. What do we know about 3DT, James? For those of us who weren't quite paying as much attention to the earlier stages of the broadcast as perhaps we should have.
It's. I'm glad you asked, because the point I was about to make is that we referenced the fact that last night Fabiano Kovalsky was at the Super High Roller final table. 3D was also at a WCOOP final table in the 5-card PLO event, and I think secured a 5th place finish in that, and now is the favourite to win this. This would be their 2nd WCOOP title. 3D won a Pot Limit Omaha event back in 2016. According to the records we can find, $2 million in online earnings. I think the most interesting thing about 3D, though, Salmon, you're a man of the world. They're from Kazakhstan.
Loved it. Love it. Yeah. What, a Kazakhstan flag there in the background with some rapper or something like that. Yeah.
I think someone said earlier on it's a boxer.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. That's pretty cool. And Jerry, I know well in real life. Nice, really nice guy. And obviously super experienced, bracelet winner as well. And I presume has some kind of coop title to the resume as well.
Well, would you be surprised to know, Sam?
No WCOOP.
Right, that no WCOOP, exactly. I was surprised by that.
There should be some name. Surely we could get the marketing department on this. If you've got both the Scoop and WCOOP, it should be called something. We obviously, if we had a third one, we could call it like a triple crown or something. But a double, the double Coop.
It's slightly awkward, and I don't even know whether I should bring this up. But there used to be the triple Coop, because you used to have Scoop, WCOOP, and you used to have T-Coop, the Turbo Championship of online poker. But and this is the harsh reality, that kind of got downgraded to the Turbo Series. So it's no longer a Coop. So we just have the double now.
Sure. Anyone can win a Turbo. It's not real poker. That's not real poker.
I was just... Sam, I was just about to say, I love T-Coops. I was like, yes, please, something to really make up for all of the lost buy-ins over the other Coops.
Fem on felt, 15 big blinds. Let's go. Suited hand, we're all in. How bad can it be? Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. For sure. Don't worry, Maria Hope. Limit Hold'em Coop is on the Le Coop is on the way, and you can win galore. You can be the Nazar of Limit Hold'em Coop.
You know, if only we could get those Commerce players to play online, those Limit Hold'em tournaments will be juiced up.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine some of the live lineups that you've played in over the years, and just how good they actually were. Yeah, for sure. The other thing you could update me, sorry to be, I hope there's some viewers who maybe have joined at the same time as me, so that this flashback isn't too much.
That's all
for everyone. But what happened to my top boy, my fellow team pro? I'm wearing the badge today, by the way, like a true professional. I don't know if you can see that. My nipple is slightly obscured by my name. What happened to Lex? What went down?
Lex went all in with ace deuce, but unfortunately for him, Jerry O'Dean had ace king. And Sam, just to make it clear, because I know sometimes, you know, you struggle with these things, ace king is a better hand than ace deuce, and Lex did not win.
Sigh. Yeah, that's tournament poker for you. Yeah, that's a shame. Fifth, though, what a run from the man. I mean, it used to be thought when people first started streaming, it was like, oh, you've just become an entertainer. Like, you can't win. Like, if I'm playing at home and like I'm focused and I'm not no way can you stream and talk to people and entertain and still be a big winning player. And you know, Lex and a few other guys are just proving that wrong, putting together amazing scores online. So credit while streaming, credit to them.
Absolutely. So we are still heads up, 3D with the chip lead, and Jerry O'Dean asking for the full break. So let's talk about the players we have in this heads up battle competing for this 2K title, event 34M of WCOOP 2021. Starting with the player you know, Sam, Jerry Perry Mason O'Dean. Doesn't have a WCOOP title, a third place finish from 2020. Biggest online score came from a 5K PKO, part of the High Rollers Club. And yes, we did establish that Jerry does have 2 scoop titles. Meanwhile, 3D has 2 million online earnings, does have a WCOOP title, and does have the chip advantage right now. Sam, I love it when you can give us insight into the people, though. We can all read stats off a graphic or off a chart. What's Jerry like as a human being?
Well, I mean, Jerry's a really nice guy, really, really friendly and fun to be around. And I think the thing that those stats don't show, actually, I was a little surprised at the 137K, which is somewhat compared to some of the players we see. And I presume possibly will be beaten, you know, and that's quite a landmark for someone that's been playing for a long time. This could be Jerry's biggest ever online score. But he's someone that grinds all the stakes, mid stakes through to the higher stakes. And, you know, I've battled with for years and years and years, and has just been a consistent winner over a long, long period. I'm sure made a very, very good living for himself. Plays PLO as well, has a live World Series bracelet, which came in PLO, no limit holder mix. And yeah, just a real solid guy and a very, very strong poker player. Just someone you're not ever excited to have at your table.
Maria, obviously you've been watching this final table from the beginning. I think it's fair to say that both 3D Temujin and Jerry O'Dean playing a pretty solid game, barely putting a foot wrong.
Yeah, things have really worked out nicely for them. Obviously, they didn't come in as the chip leader, but they picked their spots well, and I think that they navigated the dynamics of ICM and also where they're sat, you know, relative to the chip leader at the time, which was Kovalsky. I think they were able to find a good footing and end up in this spot.
Yeah, and Sam, you missed the deal negotiations. It was a 3-way deal, and it was lightning fast. I mean, I think I was trying to reference Maria about the fact that we don't know what they're going to be talking about. And then deal was agreed. It was lightning fast. No negotiation at all.
Yeah, that's probably a product of the fact that these guys, all three of them are regulars. They're all players that I see, you know, in the 550 bounty builder every single day. They're all strong poker players. They obviously have sort of, that's their assessment of each other. No one has a big edge. And particularly, I think, when you're dealing with 25K tournaments, the jumps in terms of buy-in are actually, even though the number is big, it's maybe only 5 buy-ins difference or 4 buy-ins different. Here you're dealing in dozens of buy-ins, 10, 15, 25, 50 buy-ins difference between third place and first place, whatever it might be. And that's a time when perhaps you want to lock up a deal a bit more often. You're not in this spot in the big fields quite as often. And so even if you have a fractional edge, perhaps you don't want to push it.
Sure. At this point, we are going to say good night to Maria Ho. Maria, thank you very much for your analysis this evening. We will catch you again very soon.
See you guys. Thank you.
But the squid is going nowhere. Mr. Grafton is going to close out tonight's final table, where we return to the heads-up battle in event number 34M. This is the 2K8 max, and it is 3D Temujin with a 94 big blind stack, who has the advantage of a Jerry Odin playing 59 bigs. They are playing for 10K plus a WCOOP trophy, having done a three-way deal with Fabiano Kovalsky, so most of the prize money already sorted, and we'll find out what they earned by virtue of that deal when this heads-up battle is over. But still a lot on the line. And great to have Joe Stapleton back into the mix as we return to the final table.
Hello. Hello. Look at Sam Gray. He's so cute. He's so adorable. I love him. I need more Sam Grafton in my life. Hey, this heads-up match should take a while, huh? 60 big blinds effective?
Yeah, it definitely could, but I think people are a bit more sophisticated. There's a lot more, a bit more merged 3-betting than there used to be. So, and people defend against those 3-bets a bit more. So you could definitely get that situation where, you know, a king queen 3-bets and now a queen 10 is forced to defend. Whereas back in the day, you didn't want a 3-bet unless you had, right, it's like, I've got ace king and I'm willing to go all in. So you know, 3D is going to call here. Maybe Joe, your prediction is going to be proven well, there you go. My prediction proven instantly wrong by the fold for queen 10. Which by the way, let's play results, very good folds.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'll say, Joe, is that the pace has been fast. They are playing, super fast, to be perfectly honest with you. And if things do slow down, we've always got anecdotes of Sam Grafton's youth to keep us more than entertained into the wee hours.
Has the statute of limitations passed on all of Sam Grafton's youth at this point, or do we have to wait like another year or two before he's ineligible for prosecution?
That's funny. So Perry, considering whether it's a barrel, obviously ace high, a little bit high in your range, but you know, there's some middling hands which have equity and decides to go really big. Obviously that would pressurize the 4x and the 5x, but a king, which oftentimes, by the way, a king like this can check raise the flop, really can't be folding to this big size. What a lucky river for Perry
Give
Mason.
him the berry.
Yeah, really great river. And interestingly, you're not going to have that many single ace X on this river, right? Most of the bluffs are 6-7, 8-7, hands like that, right? 3-6. You've got to bet an ace on the flop and overbet it on the turn. And I don't know, but I really don't think 3DT can fold here. Does seem a little strange when you're being offered this great price.
You mean should fold and can fold instead of can fold, right? They can fold. They're good enough to fold here.
Yes, I mean, if I couldn't see Perry's hand, I would be like, oh, you got to call here. Like, let's say it was bluffing. I would expect someone to pay off here. But it's a little bit of odd sizing, right? Like, say you did get to the river like this with 6-7. Are you not going to be tempted to go bigger, like the 8 million or something like that? Yeah. And 3DT, suspicious, but obviously absolute hand strength has to pay off.
And we get the switcheroo, Sam. It is now Jerry Odin with the chip lead. 34 million playing 26 million. Still deep stacked, and we could still see some big swings as this battle continues. 200, 400k blinds right now, going up in 11 minutes time.
Yeah, and $10,000 for a heads-up match. If it's not even more, we presume the speed of the deal means that it is 10k. That's a lot of money to be playing for. And you know, as I said, you know, these two guys who are long-term regulars, when you've had a long online career, made it the focus of you know, a full decade of your life, it does mean a lot to close out titles like this and, you know, have it as a sort of notch on the bedpost, another COOP title for one of these players.
Yeah, and you can't really let the medium fool you, right? Like this did not look like a medium. This doesn't 2K doesn't sound like a medium buy-in to me.
No,
the final table lineup is not one you'd be like is a medium lineup.
Let's be brutally honest. The only reason that this event is classed as a medium is that the high was the super high roller. It was the 25K. With every other event, the 2K buy-in is going to be the high variant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Don't forget, guys.
Nice little value bet here, by the way, from 3DT. What a good value bet from Ace High, trying to get called by Queen High, and then a good fold. I mean, you could see how talented these guys are. That's really impressive poker there. Obviously, they probably had a lot of experience playing against each other over the hours today, and you know, the lead up to this final, have a sense of each other's strategies. But still, pretty impressive poker.
So Jerry O'Dean pairing his 7 and 3D with the Grafton 10-9 suited.
Jerry Odell.
Look.
Jerry, don't call me Odell O'Dean.
Jerry O'Rourke.
I mean, I had 2
Look
of
at
the
the
letters.
9-10. The backdoors, the 8, the jack, the queen, the diamond. I mean, you got a wrap.
This is what it takes to
play
be a
Omaha,
professional
but-
poker player, is to think that you have a chance of hitting a backdoor ever. Like, that's no wonder you're all complete crazy people that you look at that board
There's a
and you're
reason.
like, oh, yeah, so many turn cards I'm going to like here.
Joe, there's a reason why this hand is called the Grafton, because Sam is attached to it.
I'm an optimist. I'm just one. A 10-9 suited is a hand where optimism is very often rewarded.
He needs to be attached
Very,
to a CAT scan to figure out what's wrong with his brain.
Oh, interesting.
And this is what's tough about playing the check raise with A7. Really nice to fold out overcards. Really nice to get a little bit of value. But now you've strengthened their range a lot by check raising. You folded out a lot of air. You weren't bluffing, but now facing this bet, you're in a tough situation. And Jerry check calls, daring 3DT to fire this third bullet.
Is it a dare?
Do
Is he just
it.
going to snap it off?
Do it.
Yeah, and the sizing is big here on the... Doesn't do it.
Oh. Nonetheless, 2-1 chip advantage for Jerry O'Dean. 40 plays 20, and the raise with King Jack gets a fold. Ace Deuce versus Queen 9.
Finally, someone connects with... Oh, wait.
Don't have to connect with the board, Joe. I don't know if you've heard this before. It's a new concept I have about poker. It's not about playing the cards, it's about playing the player.
Okay, so in my opinion, bluffing is an angle shoot. If you bet and you don't have anything, that's messed up. That's messed up, guys. Especially if you bet a lot and don't have anything. Like, just play fair.
Yeah, it's basically lying, Joe, isn't it? It's just a
It's
euphemism.
lying.
Just a
That's
polite...
exactly what it is.
Yeah. It's one of these words they invented to hide how
Bluffing.
bad it is. Yeah. This is a little odd hand selection from 3D. Does pick up the pot against Ace 4. Look at this. First limp is always weak. One of the first rules of poker. The first limp is always
the
weak.
weakest.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It feels pretty good to do the commentary today. Normally, I'm only commentating days after I've lost like $50,000 online. So today I've lost no money, and yesterday I didn't lose any money. So I'm feeling fresh as a daisy.
2 days of being a winner.
Yes, indeed.
Was yesterday one of those days? You seemed a little salty yesterday.
I got 9th in the WCOOP, like 20 minutes before I came on. Did I seem salty? I hope I didn't seem salty.
No.
No, I
mean,
like
I
not.
think it's the
Appropriate.
fact that,
really.
you know,
Sprinkle.
it's
Punch of
yeah,
salt.
yeah. I mean, you know, having bust the final table in 9th place, there's always that what could have been, and then you're being exposed to the super high roller where you've got people throwing it in your face every 20 minutes that you fired 3 bullets in this thing and aren't at that final table. I can understand why you might be, you know, just a little bit knocked.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm
Much
a
like the WCOOP, Sam Grafton has 3 buy-in tiers.
I'm a semi-professional commentator. I hope my professionalism just pervades.
Well,
you know, I'm a robotic poker player who I can lose that money and not feel it. I hope so. Anyway, I wouldn't want to have been. You know, I've got love for people making money, even if I don't. But yeah. I'll put it this way: 9th particularly is, you know, if I got 3rd and then I come on, I had to reach for that professionalism. And again, Perry, Mason, flopping best. Do you think this is a Nordic version of Perry Mason? Do you think when they put Perry Mason on TV in Scandinavia, they called him Mason and spelled it like that? Is that what this is a reference to?
As someone who spends a fair amount of time in that part of the world, they do show the American version ad nauseum. So I don't think they necessarily have their own edition.
With Raymond Burr?
The old Raymond Burr one is still in circulation.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
That would be cool if they just altered the name. So James, if they did Minder, which you like were riffing on, it would be Minder, but would be like J-E-R Minder.
Absolutely.
Or Bergerac, but it's double J-A-I-C at the end, or whatever. You know, it'd be great. Inspector Morge. Inspector Morge of the Fjords.
Not being funny, when you bring up some of those TV shows, the concept of Bergerac is ridiculous. He's a detective on Jersey where literally nothing ever happens. If someone's cat goes missing, it's front page news. And yet somehow every week there was some high crime, murder, fraud that he had to investigate.
That's, I mean, look, that's the basis of Murder, She Wrote also, right? Cabot Cove, Maine has a new murder every week. I mean, you just got to get past that.
Guys, I've told you this story before. I actually thought that Murder, She Wrote was a lot more meta. I thought it was a lot cleverer than it actually was. I thought each episode was her living out one of her books in her head. That she's like, we're watching her write a story based on the kind of people she's meeting and almost fabricating these crimes and these scenarios so she can write her works of fiction. No, it wasn't that clever.
It's the same with Romancing the Stone. I watched that on an airplane, and it begins with a dream sequence. And about Jessie, her thing, and then she wakes up, and then she enters a fantasy, and then at the end hands over a book she's written based on the reality she's lived. I thought, maybe it's like a reverse, like that's hinting that this is also a fantasy and taking place in her head. It's like another level. Like, I mean, that's what cinema is, right? It's just like. Yes. I feel like we've spoken about Romancing the Stone before because I've just had a flashback of you doing that impersonation of the.
I know. It's just the idea that in the kind of darkest jungles of South America, there's some like cartel leader who is a massive fan of romantic fiction.
Yeah, John Wilder. Yes. What's he call his car? My little pony. Yeah, anyway. Accent. Yeah, great film, by the way. Absolutely top.
It's no Jewel of the Nile.
Of those movies from the 80s, it has actually stood up reasonably well.
8, 9, jack. Nope. Just a jack.
Yeah, and again, Perry, look at this, really nice. Can be tempted to just give up with the queen.
Snap.
Feels like it's low enough in his range. Doesn't get it through. Still maintaining that nice distance.
Oh, baby.
Against 3D. Wow.
Guys, we've
This
got a
here is
street
what's
flash
known.
board.
It's also quite monotone, so I'm very excited about this street flash board. Are you guys excited?
I'm also excited. Very excited.
There's the
excited
straight.
about this.
The street. Will we have the flash? Oh, we
Yes.
already have the flash. Will we have the street flash?
3D picks up a gut shot and decides to lead. Perry.
Oh my goodness.
obviously-
What a terrible turn of events for 3D.
Yes. And Perry perhaps will just call here with the board so locked. And
Oh, the
what will
strawberry has
3D
ruined your
do
fun.
now? A pair now for Perry, as well as a flush and a straight. Value bet time from Perry Mason.
Yeah, this is a chance to really widen the gap between them.
A chance to go for the gusto.
Let's go big, Perry. If we had Queen 5 with the Queen of Clubs, what size would we go?
Ooh.
We go big. And 3D. I think you can fold here, especially after you lead the turn. Nice
Heck
fold
of a
from 3D
laydown.
there.
Folding
Nice
top
yeah.
pair in a heads-up match, and you're right. Hell yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Lines
Very nice. And also,
up.
yeah, when the momentum also goes against people, I think it can be really tempting to pay off, right? You've been chip leader and you're knocked all the way back down, so your opponent has twice your stack. That's the place where the sort of psychological leak happens. You want to call this 8 million, and if you're right, you go back into the lead. It can feel like you can stop playing the game and thinking about your cards, and wow. I mean,
There it is again. The flash on the turn.
I mean, if Jerry keeps making hands like this, 3D doesn't. There's not much you can do when your opponent has a flush, like 50% of the hands you're playing. I mean, it's quite demoralizing.
You guys ever heard the phrase jerry rigged?
No, I haven't.
Oh, really?
Joe, your jokes are too sophisticated for me sometimes. It's terrible.
It's probably just not a very English phrase.
I've heard of it.
If you ever like go over to someone's house and like their bathroom door doesn't really close, but they've got like a coat hanger on it and some duct tape, you'd be like, oh, that's jerry rigged.
Any
okay,
time you
okay.
allow your parents to connect any kind of electronic device to the television set, they will jerry rig it. They will not do it properly.
Okay. I see. A little bit of discrimination against the name Jerry there, then. Is that associated with getting things wrong?
I mean, it's one of those where I wouldn't necessarily look into the genesis of it because it's probably really, really awful.
Classes.
Jerry rigged
This is a little.
1327 has heard of it. That's funny.
(10-7) raising the button. Ace-7 for 3D.
Yeah, and we did see him 3-bet an ace-5 off just a moment ago. So he feels like he wants to be 3-betting these offsuit medium aces against Odine's opens.
Snowman's
Num 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 num.
got it in there just in time.
like one of those aptitude tests, or if you want to be an astronaut, where it flashes up, you've got to hit the button before the guy folds 9-3 off. Like hit the correct snowman, or hit the aces before, like whack-a-mole or something. Like you should have a mallet and boom, like that's how you set off the emoticons or whatever.
I kind of feel we need the kind of
man.
gun barrel to go across the screen when someone gets dealt 7-5 of spades.
I mean,
Yeah.
Perry Mason surely has no objections to this card distribution.
Oh, God.
It's a little odd hand choice. Maybe I'm not familiar enough.
Finally, a hand for 3D.
Yeah.
And I think shove or 3-bet either is fine here.
Well, decides to
call?
3-bet to 3.5 million. 10-7 suited. Does make the call and flops trips. I guess the fact that 3D hasn't connected is a good thing, but still betting.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is Jerry doesn't really have any pairs pre, except for maybe aces and kings as a trap. So ace queen just going to be...
Oh my word. Full house on the turn. The no good flush draw for 3D.
Wow.
All in.
Oh, boy.
And it's over. Drawing dead. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We have our champion. Congratulations to Jerry O'Dean winning his first World Championship of Online Poker title and trophy, and securing $185,549 in prize money. 3D locked up 144K in the deal, so actually Fabiano Kovalsky, our official third place finisher, cashed out for more, having had more chips at the point they negotiated that settlement. But Jerry O'Dean is now a Scoop and WCOOP winner. And Sam, I can tell you're happy with that outcome.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. I mean, a little bit of commiserations to 3DT, who really didn't have the card distribution when it came to the heads up. But I'm really, really happy for Jerry. A long and successful career in poker, and now a marquee score, his biggest ever online result. He can be very, very proud of the result and the title.
And Joe, as far as week 2 of WCOOP is concerned, 2 down, 1 to go. Ready to bring it home tomorrow?
Yes.
I'm glad, because we were going to wake you up first thing in the morning regardless. It is an early start for Joe. Mid-afternoon if you're on the East Coast of North America. It's early evening in the UK and Central Europe. Tomorrow's stream will be event 42 high. It's the 5K 8 max. We'll be streaming the final table as they play down to a winner for the slice of a 700K guaranteed prize pool. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, September 1st at the usual time. Thank you very much for watching this evening's action. From Maria Ho, Sam Grafton, Joe Stapleton, and me, James Hartigan, it's good night from the PokerStars Arena.